Right, g'day ladies and gents. Let's see if I've managed to get this right and actually get all the settings. Fuck, it's been a while since I've done this. Hello stream, hello everybody. Now hopefully, yeah, it does seem like the mic is actually picking. Holy hell, I may have actually gotten everything correct at the start. How are we all? Hey Jason, hey Zero. Yes, well, I didn't die. Felt like it came close at the time. So it has been, I think, nearly 4 months since I did the last BattleTech stream. Sorry, just getting a shot of coffee into me here. Apologies for that. It has been a fun 4 months for me. As you'll recall, the last time I tried to do a stream, I was getting over an illness that I could barely speak, let's be honest. I'd also done a back injury, which I hadn't quite managed to identify everything that was going on with. Wound up in hospital for that. Turns out I really did a number on the lower back. Was trying to get over that and the illness and get everything else sorted out, and then we got hit by the Victorian floods, which essentially destroyed most of my internet connection, and I'm still, even though it's been a few weeks since then now, still getting instability issues because pretty much every single one of the power generators and all the communication towers in my area went underwater. Actually, I think one of them even got knocked over. So, yeah, it has. The last 4 months has been far too interesting for my liking. So, just catch up on a little bit of chat here. All the welcomes back. It's like you guys missed me or something. Actually get to watch Mag stream, and it's BattleTech. Remember Mags, headshots save on the cleaning bills, all you need is a hose pipe. Yes, but my RNG with that, in this particular save, has been something exceptional. So, well, we can try. Here we go again. Yes, creators. Hey Mags, first time catching a stream live. Watched the entire series due to my new BattleTech addiction, and I'm happy to see you getting back into it. Yep, the only reason I stopped, seriously, was I was in a load of pain. I was on some pretty serious medication, and, you know, I lost the ability to talk for about a month and a half. Well, mostly talk anyway. And then I've had just, you know, hell for the last couple since then. And now we're going to be getting it. Oh, well, it's not going to be that bad. It's just, yeah, we're coming into Australian summer now. So I think it's 35 degrees here tomorrow, Celsius. So, yeah, now I'm just going to be sweating to death. So that's fine. I'm used to that. Hey, Joannie, how have I been? Yeah, it's been far too interesting for my liking. I like it quiet and boring, and it has not been that. But we are back here where I can get this going again. Audio is solid, excellent. To quote the old welcome back, Commander, thank you. Seems A-okay on this end. Yeah, hopefully the stream speed, I tried to actually stream a couple of times in the last week and last weekend, but it wasn't going to be a thing because of instabilities. So tonight was looking good, and I'm hoping it'll stay that way. Strange usage of the word fun there. Hey, you got to try and make everything an upside, don't you? Yeah, the last 4 months hasn't been great. You know the Chinese curse proverb, may you live in interesting times? It's been far too interesting worldwide at the moment, to be perfectly honest. I would like the entire world just to, you know, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up for a little while. It'd be good. Well, since the last stream, winter has come, Mags. Winter has come, yes. Yes, when summer comes here, winter comes up there. I've been told that parts of Europe has already had its first snows. From a person who has never actually seen snow in my entire... Well, technically I have, but I was 3 at the time, in one of the few places where it actually snows in Australia, but who has never actually seen freshly fallen snow as an adult. You can keep that shit to yourself. I'm sorry, I like my Christmases at, 35 to 40 degrees, by a pool, in my shorts and singlet, barbecue going, and... in the middle of daylight saving, so the sun doesn't actually set till, well, actually near peak summer, closing on 11 o'clock at night. So we have plenty of daylight to be able to mess around with all day. It's great. Fun in a dwarf fortress sense. Exactly. Now, USA is getting some snow in the north right now. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll stick to our end, although it's been far too wet for my liking here at the moment. We've still got floodwaters here, where I am at the moment. It's not in a position where it's putting anything in danger or damaging anything anymore, but there was that much water went through my area. The backflow in the areas around my area where the floodwaters are still sitting is not expected to clear until mid-February, possibly March next year. About the time we start getting into the autumn, heading towards winter rains, is about the time they expect the floodwaters from the backwaters will actually be cleared. That's how much water went through here. Like, it was insane. Although it was a hell of a good air show, I will say that much. I will get into the game here in a second, guys, but it was a fantastic air show. The town that I live in happens to be on sort of a high rise in compared to the surrounding farmlands where a lot went underwater. So firstly, a lot of the towns nearby actually had to be completely evacuated, so they were all brought here, which is fine. That's not a problem. That, you know, we did everything we could to help them out. But to get to this area, all of the main, like for supply from cities and wherever else you want to bring supplies in, which you have to if you're going to essentially increase the population of a town. My town's not very big, and its population went up by 600% for a week. So we're going to need some supplies brought in. The problem is every single supply line into this town has to go across a bridge, and every single one of those bridges was underwater. So the only way to get here, there were two options. The army started, so all of a sudden it was like, it looked like shots from Ukraine in here. There was trucks and bushranger, bloody armoured personnel carriers everywhere through town bringing in supplies because they were fording rivers in order to be able to get here, and that wasn't enough. So next thing we know, we had Chinooks and other supply helicopters landing on my kids' primary school oval. It turned into a military airport for about 4 days. Just constant Chinooks coming in and just dropping off supplies and then leaving. So the air show has been fantastic. You know, I can't complain about the air show at all. Alright, so I'll get this all popped back up here and streaming stuff out of the way. I might be a little slow on this, a bit rusty. I've also got to remember exactly where I was up to because I literally haven't opened this save since the last time we streamed. So I think we had finished off with this planet. The difficulty level for the rest of this planet was going to be too high and we were going to leave, as I recall. Yeah, 5 skulls. 3's not too bad, but that's looking for the Capellans. 3 half. Yeah, I think we're going to take that one, as I recall. Free Worlds League, who we're trying to work on a little bit. Assassination mission. Somebody stole a mech, which means it's going to be an above 2.5 scale rate. It's probably going to be in the 50-60 ton range. It's 11 days transfer time, which will get everybody repaired and rested. Yeah, I think we're going to pick that one up, do that. And we're just looking for somewhere else to play with, because this place was a bit nuts, as I recall. Can't imagine having a hot Christmas. You should try it. Seriously, I know, I admit, I would like to go up to the US or Europe and have a white Christmas. I'd love to take the kids up there, you know, see the snowfalls and do that kind of thing. But there is something about looking at your Christmases up there. You're in the shortest time of the year. You have some of the, your days are shorter than they are on average. It is cold, which you're probably used to, so that's probably not a major issue. But there's probably limits to what you can do outside if you have got a proper white Christmas and everything is snowed in as it's supposed to. You're inside with in-laws in close proximity, which is always interesting. And then you compare that to down here. We're in singlet shorts by a pool. We've got the longest days and all the daylight hours that we can have access to do anything that we want. We go swimming at the beach. You can have a full day out till 11 o'clock. Everybody's outside. And nobody's inside on Christmas Day. Everybody's outside. You're outside, you're under sprinklers or doing whatever. You're just having a great old time. And you just basically have a massive piss up. It's great. Beautiful food and lots of alcohol. It's wonderful. Sounds like an amazing show, even with the cause being so bad. Yeah, look, the cause isn't pleasant, but like I have to give props. Like, you know, we needed stuff here, and the military stood up. Apparently, they were the ones who got our power back on too. We had the power drop out here, and we were told you're not going to have power for like a week and a half. Absolute at the soonest, like no chance. And somebody had a word with them, said, like, we're sending a couple of thousand refugees to this location. It's not underwater. It needs to have power. You will make power happen, or we will make power happen. And the first night we got power back all of a sudden. Like, it came back on, and we couldn't work out why. Apparently the military trucked in a bunch of these semi-sized, massive diesel generators. And they were running them. I don't know where they were in town because we couldn't hear them, but they were running them somewhere secluded in town. Don't know where they got them from. Don't know what hell they had to go through to get them here, but they got them here. And then they apparently had Army engineers do some fairly interesting rewiring to the power grid in order to bypass a whole bunch of things and get mains power back in here. Because they weren't going to be able to run the generators for any more than a day or two. So the military basically told PowerCore to fuck off and then fix the problem themselves, which I was impressed. Prayed one of these mission types earlier today. It was a 4.5 Skull, so the mech was big. Yeah, 4.5 Skull is almost guaranteed it's guaranteed in assault mech. It's usually 100 tons. Turned out to be a longbow. Yeah, longbow would be nice. Won't be anything that big here. Catapult at maximum. Hopefully we can get one of those. Actually, I should get this underway rather than sitting here talking shit with you guys. Although this is good. I've missed this. All right, so we're going to negotiate this one. All right, so I want. Okay, we're going to take. I got 3.8 million. It's only 11 days travel time, and I think it was. Reports in 22 days. So yeah, that's fine. We're going to take full salvage because I want whatever the mech is. Now, Commander. That's more important than anything else. Move to Lapland in Sweden, depending on how far north you are. It's night for nearly 6 months of the year. Yeah, that... I do admit, I want to travel around a little bit. I would like to experience some of these things, but that would break me. I mean, I am a night owl. I prefer night. But having it night all the time, that's a touch much. It would be an interesting place to visit. But I'd have to call it at that. White Christmas. I think I've had 3 times in my time. You have to jump across the ditch for a White Christmas. Well, I had to jump across a little bit more of a ditch to get that far up. Or alternatively, I could go south, but... No, it's even less pleasant south, considering how far south you've got to go to reliably get snow. Darius stops by your quarters to recite an invitation on behalf of our barracks denizens. I am formally charged with requesting your attendance to the assembly of the mech warriors in the lounge this evening. Libations will be consumed, along with a screening of the recent Solaris Championships. In a less official tone, Darius adds, Archangel managed to pick up an official holovid somehow. I expect our mech warriors are going to want to watch the fight and get very, very drunk. We don't have that, so I can't get Archangel to offer commentary. Well, we'll accept it, of course. Why would I not go and get pissed and watch mechs beat up mechs while we're in transit? That sounds perfect. You arrive in the lounge that evening, mech warriors cheer, Archangel starts a holovid while Tango passes around refreshments. The fight is exciting, although one-sided. The main question is how Grey Norton will pull off a victory, rather than if he will. For a couple of hours you're able to set aside the burden of command and just be a mech warrior among mech warriors. Morale increased by 2. Yeah, that's an easy one. You're on a mercenary ship. You don't turn down alcohol. Not while you've got nothing else to do. Those big 40-foot containerized generators have damn good noise suppression on them. Yeah, they must have, because this town is not very big, and I know there were 2 of them running, and the entire town was lit up. So the whole town, I don't know if the factories were up, but everything else was fully functional, and we had 2. But I have no idea where they were. And I wasn't doing a lot of driving around to go look for them either, to be clear, because one of the shortages we had here, obviously, is no fuel. All the service stations were empty because everybody fueled up as the floods were coming, and then nothing can get through. So there was no fuel stored here for anything. So you only had what you had in your tank, and on the off chance you're going to need it for something, the car stayed parked unless it was absolutely necessary to move it. We've arrived. Proceed with the current mission. Not yet. I want to have a quick look at what's going on first. So, financial report is in 11 days. It looks like everything else is cleared. Mech Warrior status. Everybody is up and running. No injuries, which is new. Normally we've got somebody down. And mech bays. Everything will be repaired and up and running. So the Archer is good to go. Still running its massive SRM6 loadout because I haven't got any other frontliners yet. I've got the 6-pack. I'm actually refreshing my memory on exactly what they're loaded out with at the moment. Medium lasers, small lasers, SRM6. So yeah, standard loadout for that. The disco back. Cool. And we got the 2N, which is our Royal Griffin. PPC SRM6. Yeah, it's still not a great mech, that one. Although it's not horrible either. Alright, I will get this mission underway and loading. We'll launch this contract. Alright, so Archer 6-pack, disco back, and the lead spitter is our standard loadout. And you know what? We're doing a Mars. It's a Martian world. The disco back might be a touch hot. Although Archangel does have the heat bearer, the heat dump ability, coolant vent. 5s. Had a really reliable support mech, LRM-20 and LRM-5, but it doesn't really offer us much else. No, we might go with that. We'll go with the standard loadout, Archer 6-pack, disco back, and lead spitter. I'll just hope that the heat isn't going to be too much. We only have one specific target that we've really got to pop, although it's going to have support units, but we've definitely got enough firepower across the rest to be able to deal with that. Alright, we'll deploy on that. And it's awesome. It's great to hear the military doing some good for that, gear going to a good cause. Our military is generally pretty good with this kind of stuff. It's whether or not the idiots in charge actually order them to do something. Like during the bushfires, the 2019 bushfires, the military was really slow to get involved because government officials wouldn't call them in. But when they finally did, they actually sent one of our new carriers. I think it was the Adelaide. That was the Canberra. No, I'm pretty sure it was the Adelaide they sent down. They sent that down along with a couple of cruisers and basically evacuated an entire town off the coast while the bushfires were coming in. They had to get permission to do it first. And I have nothing but respect for our military. The Australian government, on the other hand, doesn't really matter who's in charge. They're a little bit fucking slow. My BEX campaign ended after a while, sadly. Load times were too long and not enough happening. He's hoping some beefier mechs soon. Well, as I said, if this one doesn't... If we play through this one and it starts getting a little bit slow, I'm happy to call it. We're at 1,000 days at the moment. I'm happy to call this campaign and essentially set up a custom campaign with the same characters. I think I should be able... I'd probably have to look into save editing, but maybe recreate these characters to a point, or start an entirely new save, depending on what you guys wanted. I would leave it up to you guys. But jump it forward to the clan invasion, and maybe strip us back to only 4 mechs, maybe a couple of mechs, like a broken down version of the lead spitter or something, like the company has retired for 20 years and come back. Or, potentially, if it gets interesting, we can just keep playing through. Load times and everything on this shouldn't be be too much of an issue. This BattleTech install with BEX is installed on an NVMe SSD, and my system's not slow, so I'm not expecting the load times to become an issue. Engage and destroy target mechs and head to the evac zone. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
All the terraforming in the world couldn't help this place.
Alright. It's a fairly long haul to get to the target zone. Got some depressions. That's the map border there. Large depression through here, which we're probably going to have to transfer through. So it's going to be a lot of open terrain, no cover, not a lot of terrain to work with.
Moving to position.
I'm walking here.
Let's hope the next upcoming months are not so eventful. Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's just going to be just Christmas and then a nice January. I have been getting some other stuff done though, because obviously talking has been a bit of an issue. That's why the videos have been slow on the channel too. I've only just sort of started getting those back. I was really out of it for a bit. Alright. So that's a full lance. Three mechs and a vehicle support, and it looks like nothing coming from this direction. Yeah, there's really nothing terrain-wise we can work with. We're nearly in the best spot we can be at right now. You brace. And nobody's moving, so nobody else in light category. So they're all medium mechs at the very least. I really want to find out what they are before we try and close. So I'm going to leave our mechs here. This pass is almost the most defensive spot that we've got. So we might just have to hold and wait. We've got spots we can retreat to for cover through here and through here as well. Where if we go out here, this is a kill zone. They'll come over this ridgeline, they'll have cover. They'll come through here, they'll have cover through this section. And anything in here is dead if it's not the lead spitter. The lead spitter's fast enough, it can get evasion bonuses even while it's out there. So if we sit in this whirlwind, it's the whirlwind will give us an effect very similar to hiding in the trees. So I'm going to hang back here. Get ready to unload on whatever comes and exposes itself. Put that one there. Although we are a little grouped up, which wouldn't be good for stray shots, but... Royal Mechs, somebody had a good run early on. Not early on. We're 1,000 days into the campaign, and that's the Royal Griffin you get from... it's not the heist mission, it's one of the missions. We completed one of the mini campaign missions, the Flashpoint campaigns. That's where that came from. Alright, so I am going to... We have a whirlwind here we can dodge into, so I'm going to take it. That gives us 4-point evasion plus the 20 points off the whirlwind, and we'll get a look at what we've got here. Alright, so it's a trench bucket, and we've got a Phoenix Hawk, but of course, there's always a fucking Phoenix Hawk. Always. Always a Phoenix Hawk. While we're at it, I'm not going to brace. Let's do a sensor lock. What are you?
Got a lock.
Vindicator. Well, that's not a particularly heavy load. Okay, fair enough.
I'm here.
Alright, well in that case, if it's only those, I was worried it'd be something heavier than that. 6-pack directly into range with Cerberus.
Okay, let's go.
That's a lot of evasion pips. And a very, very, very low chance of actually hitting. Alright, we're going to turn everything off except the small lasers and just cycle the small lasers for the moment.
Locking in target.
Just to strip off an evasion pip. Phoenix Hawk has to die first.
My old mama can hit harder than that. They will be done. Onward.
Right. Yeah, only on 50, 55. Alright, we'll go with the 55s. We'll pull the 50s out just to save the heat loading. Again, we'll get a bit more of a strip on the Phoenix Hawk.
Got it, Commander.
That's down to 2. That's about as low as we're going to be able to get it for the moment. Phoenix Hawk PPC, that's okay. We will deal with him next. In fact, the Vindicator should probably be the first target for the lead spitter. Right, now we're 2 points down. Still only 54% on the Archer. I could do a precision shot. This gets us up to 74. Yeah, we got 4 mechs. We got 3 mechs and a vehicle to kill here. So yeah, we'll get that back, so we can use that on our main target.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Vehicle's only a bulldog, so it's not a super big concern.
Tickled.
Hey Disco, how's it going, mate? I just found that you were YouTube streaming. Yep, I've been trying for about a week, and we are finally gotten ourselves back into it. Right. It's only going to give me 2 evasion. No, it won't do. Alright, let's do a jump. Jump to rear arc gives us full pips. Yeah, we'll do that. Jump to rear arc, full pips.
All weapons, go!
Chew up some of that rear armor on the trench bucket. Alright, Claymore first. Now he's got a fair high heat loading on him, so he's going to go for the melee strike with the Archer.
Engaging physical attack. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Only an engine shielding crit, but that's going to mess up with its its heating a little, or its cooling rather,
minimal.
which is not good in a Phoenix Hawk.
No.
Alright, 6-pack, we will...
Yes, Commander.
Let's use the Disco back first, I reckon.
On my way.
While the Phoenix Hawk has no evasion pips, because I do not want this thing to jump. Because then it gets annoying.
Let's see how you like this.
Jump jet's destroyed, arm destroyed.
Ooh, that hit something good.
Still not enough to kill it though.
Reporting major armor loss.
I don't like how this is going.
In that case, actually, you know what? We're going to have the melee on the trench bucket. So I will...
I'm there. Targeting for an upper strike.
That should kill it. Yep, there we go.
I Got him.
In other tabletop stuff, I've been playing a bunch of tabletop Battlefleet Gothic. Actually, pretty fun. Yeah, I bet it is. I'd love to. I would love to play. It's one of the tabletops that I would love to play. I've actually recently reinstalled Battlefleet Gothic and Battlefleet Gothic 2 for PC. I want to play through the campaigns again. Alright, we're going to stand on that Bulldog. That'll get it out of the way.
Damage minimal.
Skipper.
Alright, so... we're going to do the actual melee attack with the lead spitter into the back of the
Copy that, Commander.
trebuchet. Heat sink destroyed, shoulder destroyed, structure exposed, so it's open from the rear.
Right here.
6-pack, who's got the biggest cooling? Disco Back's got the biggest cooling problem, so you get the honours of stepping on the Bulldog. I don't think we needed the small lasers, to be honest. I think it was pretty dead.
Warning. Weapon system.
Thank you very much for the $10, man.
Reporting heavy fire.
Alright. Rear attack.
Try.
One thing I haven't done
I'd
while I've
rather
been away
work
is actually get all the stream
hard.
alerts and everything sorted out, which I should have done. I've had time. Alright, and melee attack from the other side.
Engaging physical attack.
How did that not get taken out? Mags and Phoenix Hawks, name a more iconic combo. I'm half tempted to try. I'm not a huge Phoenix Hawk fan, you know this, but I'm half tempted to put one together and just cheese the hell out of it. If I can get access to Star League weapons, I might build a pure cheese Phoenix Hawk build, because you can make something that is just ridiculous. It is entirely possible to build a
I'm on him.
like an Alpha Strike machine. And this should kill it. It's not
That
dead
is
yet?
something-
No. Alright, pilot's ejected. Okay, that works. I'm fine with that, that's cool.
Standing by.
Alright, 6-pack into close
say
range.
so.
Again, we're going to drop the SRMs and the medium lasers out, because we've got 4 evasion points on this Vindicator, so we're going to start stripping its evasion. Hope you find a grasshopper soon. It's a fire starter on steroids. It would be nice,
minimal.
but they won't show up until I start doing... Actually, there is a potential that one could show up in this mission. An assassination mission at 3.5... Actually, no, we're at 2.5 skulls on this one, so no, it won't be. That's an Ost... Is that our actual target? That is the target. It's an... Oh... Kind of feel ripped off, to be honest. I was hoping for something bigger. Oh well. Yeah. Disco Back can get out here in front of the hostile so we can take the shots while I'm stripping this Vindicator down. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. Let's turn all those down to just the small lasers. Yeah, shots into the front of the archer, which is fine.
Warning. Armor low.
I must depart you all now. Oh, sorry I didn't say goodbye, Joanie. Oh, if you end up watching this back later, I hope you have a nice evening. And I will be trying to stream far more often now. It just comes down to the stability issues. It actually feels like I've wound the clock back about, 2 years in terms of these kind of problems. Alright, so Vindicator's down to no evasion at this point, so we can just be... Oh, one of those shots got inside the Archer's armor and destroyed one of their SRM6s. Son of a bitch. I didn't notice that.
Engaging target.
Alright, I'm gonna have to watch that. If that hostile managed to punch through once, it can do it again.
Damage minimal.
Breaching shot.
Reporting.
Aha.
Minimal damage. What are your orders, Skipper?
Well, that is interesting. Alright. Wind spitter up the left. We'll get him around the rear of the hostile and start pulling apart its rear armor. Battlefleet Gothic is on Tabletop Simulator if you ever want to retry with all of the models and rules too. I've got Tabletop Simulator. I must have a look at that.
Warning. Armor
Also,
breached.
potential Battlefleet
Internal
Gothic stream.
damage.
Ah, would you leave my Archer alone?
Armor breached. Internal
Yes,
damage.
Commander.
Alright. Alright, everything on the Vindy now. It's only got one evasion pip, so we can lay into it.
Affirmative. Critical hit, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
Archangel.
Confirmed.
So there for a rear strike. Now the AI is being spun. It's laying into the left-hand side of my Vindy, left-hand side of my Archer. Eject. Come on.
Toward a critical hit.
Nope, you're not going to eject. So I need to back the Archer off. And I need to make sure I'm giving them my right-hand side. And that's going to push us close to overheat, but it's not going to push us over, so that's fine.
Engaging target.
Engine destroyed, pilot incapacitated. Alright, Vindy's out of play.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Always treat them like a horror movie villain. Shoot the corpse just to be sure. Okay, forgive me. What's the cheese with the Phoenix Hawk? Alright. So the Phoenix Hawk gets a bonus whenever it jumps to its weapon, to its energy weapon attacks. Right? It's one of the bases for how it functions. So what you can do, if you load it up with, I think it's 3 double heat sinks, and then you get at least Star League level weapons, preferably high pip point Star League weapons, large lasers. You can do a full medium rack if you want, but large lasers as much as possible. I think you can fit 3 if you mess with the weights right. You can build a mech that can one-shot a heavy through the front armor and critical, if not destroy, an assault in a single turn. You jump it once, then drop a precision strike and target the enemy mech, and the damage bonus, if you have a high enough skilled pilot, coupled with the mech's damage the damage bonus coupled with the jump bonus coupled with the weapons bonuses, everything just stacks out of control, and you can just core a hole straight through a heavy easy and some of the assaults if you hit the right points. If you can couple that up with a pilot that has a 10 gunnery skill as well, you can actually blow the head clean off a mech, regardless of what it is. Like, armor saves will not save it. You will blow the head off an Atlas in one turn. You can build 4 of them if you can get enough equipment together, and just jump around a map like Man, essentially one-shotting heavy and assault mechs. I'll have to pull the build up at some point in time, but you can build a really ridiculous cheese build out of the Phoenix Hawk, but it requires a lot of very expensive equipment to do, and it won't overheat. You can alpha strike with 3 double heat sinks. I think you can alpha strike for 6 turns in a row before heating actually becomes an issue. That's jump and alpha strike without actually stopping, which is sufficient enough to wipe out 2 to 3 lances if you have 4 of them.
I'm receiving you.
Or take out an entire lance with 1 of them on its own while your other 3 mechs are doing something different.
On my way.
The Phoenix Hawk can be broken rather severely. Yeah, that'll keep it under heat.
Firing.
Right
Now,
here.
I need to convince this gentleman to get out of his mech.
On my way.
I'll rattle him around from the sides a little bit, and then I'll punch him straight in the face with the archer. We'll pull the mediums and one of the... Actually, yeah, we'll pull... it's 20 damage is 20 damage. We'll leave that in to rattle him from the other side. The SRMs are the important one here, because I want him to panic. Now again, still got to keep the right-hand side presented, so it's where all the damage is going to be taken. But, precision shot, we're going to go for the cockpit, and I'm going to roll the bones. Well, actually, no, with that heat loading, maybe I won't. Keep the... Roll half the bones.
Engaging target.
Come on.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Our target is making a break for it.
Oh, he's not getting out of here. That's not a problem. That's likely going to destroy the mech. We have enough. Phantom's gunnery skill is pretty good. Brave.
Engaging jump jets.
Jump in front. Some of those shots had to have hit the cockpit and damaged the armor. Come on.
Yes, Commander.
Cerberus heat-wise is still an issue. So if we're going to do a melee attack, I want it from the front. I want to pound that front armor. Come on, get out of your mech. And she shoots him in the dick with a small laser. Nice.
Moving to position. Engaging.
Left torso destroyed, pilot injured. That be enough? Nope, still only panicking. Can't recall if I've got any Ostal spare parts floating around. I popped that other torso, but I'm not sure it's going to matter now. That is going to be a slight overheat, which we want to avoid. We'll pull the other SRM6, just keep it to the double plus medium lasers and the double plus SRM6.
Engaging target.
Alright, pilot is out. Alright, 2 parts on that mech, because we destroyed it. Destroyed one of the torso.
Mission successful.
And we need 4 to complete a mech in this campaign, as you'll recall, so... so this is like BTA 3062. Yeah. Yeah, this is BattleTech Extended. BattleTech Advanced will be doing for one of the next playthroughs, although I need to get a double up for this. So I can actually have both installed at the same time. If I buy BattleTech on GOG, I can set GOG up as a BattleTech Advanced mod while this is a BattleTech Extended. So then I can have both. That would work. I don't mind doing that. Alright, so Archer. Yeah, we have to replace an SRM6. At least it wasn't one of the good ones. And everything else is pretty much okay. It was really only the Archer that took all the hits, which isn't surprising considering it's nearly 20 tons heavier than everything else. We only got one part of the Ostal. We should have got 2, because we only destroyed one of the... well, fair enough, whatever. We have 2 parts Phoenix Hawk. No parts of a trebuchet floating around. Might as well grab one of the Phoenix Hawk, one of the trebuchets, and we'll roll on the rest. Oh, we'll see what happens. Alright, we took all of the Met parts. We didn't get one of the large lasers, one of the MGs. Did we get the... Yeah, we did. We got the Single Plus MG. I might put that on the lead spitter. Give it a bit of an upgraded one. Atmos, haven't played BEX. BEX BattleTech Extended, it plays up until the start of the FedCom Civil War, so its timeline runs from the early 3000s all the way up to 3060. Actually, I think it goes into 3062, and that's where it ends. So it doesn't overlap with the FedCom Civil War, so it doesn't overlap with BattleTech Advanced at all. But it keeps mostly to the vanilla rule set. Actually, that's not entirely true. It modifies over to a closer version of the tabletop rule set, but it tries not to take away... It tries not to change it too much, so the game still plays mostly the way it does in vanilla, but you're running with tabletop-style rules. So your weapons rolls are based on the tabletop rules. You have... Actually, I can show you a couple of examples if I go to the mech bay. So I'm going to have to run some repairs anyway. So you get some bonuses and changes that are out of the tabletop, such as mech quirks, which you can see popped up down the bottom there. You also get piloting skill, which you can see there. The more missions your pilots run in the mechs, the more familiar they become with the mech, and so they start getting bonuses inside of that mech chassis. So staying with the chassis over an extended period of time is actually recommended, and keeping a pilot, having a specific pilot for a specific chassis, will generate a better result in the end. And the same goes for weapons types as well. There's also perks and bonuses that apply to all the pilots that are out of the tabletop rules as well. So it's kind of a bit of an amalgam. It's not a 100% true to faith recreation of the tabletop rules. It's a blend between those rules and the vanilla game to try and make the best overall. It's pretty nice. I like it. I like it very much. You were chatting as the SRM6 got destroyed by the trebuchet of the Phoenix. Oh, okay, I just didn't notice it. It's only a small SRM, so it's not a major issue. If it was the double plus over here, I would have been pissed. What have we got? Spares. We should have a few. Yeah, we got 26 SRM6s. Oh no, I am really devastated with the destruction of that one. Make sure I've got them in the right order. Cool, there we go. So yeah, it's that double plus that I'm more concerned with. And that is it. 3 days to repair that. So we lost a little money on that one, but not too much. 33,000 plus 3,000 in repairs there, but we're at 3.8 million, so that's fine. Now, what have we got in the way of components? I've got to actually remember what we've got in storage at the moment. So we've still got 2 parts of the Atlas D. that we got very early on, but we haven't managed to recover the rest. We're only one part short of an Orion. Jaegermech. A Griffin and a Shadowhawk in storage. It's the Lancelot. One Cena, one and Dragon. Where is... There's the Outland. No! Oh, the Ostel. We only got one... I only had the one part. I thought we might have run into a few more of those. Right, we got a few spare mechs floating around in here at the moment. Anything below 50 tons is really not useful to us for what we're trying to achieve, though. We need more missions. So, contracts, let's see what we've got here. Trap Sprung, it's a 2, Show of Force, Davian and Marek. So all these missions are fine to run. We're just going to ignore the Capellan one here. Battle in the Highlands, Trap Sprung, 2 skulls, 3 skulls, Show of Force. Who's it against? Thief and banditry in Alexandria has become a tremendous problem of late. The point that Davian corporate interests can satisfy more goods over land. We need a mercenary company capable of defending our convoy and deterring any hostile force that may want to be carrying. Payment will be remitted upon the receipt of the convoy. It's an escort. 8, hold up. Who are we again? And it's against Capellan. Our spies report that a veteran Capellan mech warrior from the Succession Wars retired in this system, and Marek would very much like to keep him retired, permanently if possible. They've been monitoring a dropship in orbit of the planet and believe that they're preparing a pickup. We need you to drop and intercept this mech warrior before he can be reactivated. It's likely in a fairly heavy mech, so be careful when you engage him. 3 skulls, assassination mission versus the Capellans for Marek. Yes. All the yeses. We will do that one, but I want my archer repaired first, so we're just going to have to wait a couple of days. And we'll let all of our ace pilots recover as well, because they're all fatigued. And it's only going to take... Claymore's 3 days out, and we're 8 days until we report, so that's fine. I'll let him rest. And then we're probably going to have to run 2 in a row. We might run that, the 2 skull one as just a moneymaker, because this is going to be another full salvage for this. Right, recruitment drive. Ooh, we only get 210. Game really does not want us to get more heavy mechs, does it? They will not, Merrick will not let us have 3 salvage on this mission. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Alright, fair enough. Hang on, wait a second. Internal structure on the Archer's still damaged. I thought I ordered a repair on that. Mustn't have. Ah, well, it's only a smidge. It'll be a smidge in the left torso, smidge of structure in the left torso. Nothing too serious. I'm not too concerned. We can run with that. I've ran with much worse. Confirm, we're fine. Let's deploy. A Phoenix Hawk that doesn't overheat, blimey. Yeah, and it gets worse, Somerset, because if you can find the Royal Phoenix, so the Star League variant of the Phoenix Hawk, it actually has double heat sinks built into its reactor as default. So then it essentially runs as with 3 double heat sinks in the build, plus the double heat sinks that are built into the reactor by default. It won't overheat. It can alpha strike every single turn and it will not stop. But then the difficulty level goes up a little bit there because you've got to find the specific Royal variant as well, which is, yeah. Is the Ostel a decent mech? It's 60 tons, but it's not as heavy as I was hoping. And I am sort of looking for something else to run as a frontliner. There was a time when, was there a time when game studios stopped making giant robot games? Unfortunately, yes, and it's only been until recently.
Command interface
In the early 90s,
initiated.
there were... well, early 90s, late 90s, there were 3 major mech series. There was BattleTech, which everybody knew, which also had... which its most popular spin-off, of course, was MechWarrior. So you had MechWarrior 2, Activision made, MechWarrior 3 was Micropose, and MechWarrior 4 and 4 Mercenaries was all Microsoft. So that was the big mainstream mech game, the BattleTech universe. But there was also, after Activision lost the MechWarrior series to Micropose, it actually created its own based on, I think, a book IP. And I can't tell what that is. That almost looks like a Victor. I'm not sure. Oh.
Trees.
But yeah, they started up their own series, and it was on a modified version of the MechWarrior 2 engine called Heavy Gear, which was pretty awesome. I'm ignoring the Japanese games at the moment because Japan made a lot of mech games, obviously. But talking about sort of the main lines. Now, the third one was the Earthsiege universe, which was made by Sierra. Unfortunately, 2 of those didn't survive the 90s. The MechWarrior series continued into the early 2000s and got MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, and then Microsoft promptly forgot it existed, largely due to the legal battles that were involved around the IP. It was just too annoying for them to have to deal with, which I can sort of get, but that's...
Moving to position.
We could have had a lot of mech games if it wasn't for friggin' Gold, whatever it was. I forget their name now. I'm having some mental
Keep your eyes
farts in
peeled,
regards to
Commander.
memory here tonight,
This looks
guys,
like
in
an
case you
ideal
haven't told.
place for an ambush.
Everywhere's a... Darius. Yeah, so there were some legal battles around the IP, so Microsoft stopped making mech games. I think MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries came out in 2004? 2003, 2004, or somewhere in that area. And then there was nothing until MechWarrior 5 and BattleTech. So BattleTech was 2018, and MechWarrior 5 was released December 2019. So there was nothing in the middle. Heavy Gear was fantastic. Heavy Gear 2 was also great. I've got both of them here, the original discs for them. Activision made 2 and then decided, you know what, we've got this whole Call of Duty thing going on here, and so we can't be fussed doing anything else with it, and just forgot the IP existed. They were successful in sales. They just forgot the IP existed, and that was it.
Moving to position.
And the Earthsiege universe, Sierra was making games in that, which they had MetalTech Earthsiege was the MechWarrior style game, and then there was Mission Force Cyberstorm, which was actually a turn-based strategy game, very similar to what you see in BattleTech here, but in the Earthsiege universe. And it sold really well as well. But they got bought out by Blizzard. Then Activision Blizzard merged. So Activision Blizzard now owns the Earthsiege and the Heavy Gear series. Microsoft had MechWarrior. You can see where this is going, right? Like, everything stopped being made. Microsoft has put all the IP back on the market for MechWarrior, obviously. MechWarrior's got MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior 5, and BattleTech is back on there. And Microsoft is currently in the process of trying to buy Activision Blizzard, who owns all of the other mech games that have basically been sitting in IP vaults for closing on 2 decades untouched.
Affirmative, Commander.
Yeah, Harmony Gold, that's the one. Yeah, assholes, and I'm glad they're out of the picture now. We don't have to worry about them anymore. But they essentially killed BattleTech from 2004 to 2018. Well, I suppose 2014 if you count MechWarrior Online, but I don't recommend
What are your
you
orders,
do.
Skipper?
Decade and a half, somewhere between a decade to nearly 2 decades. They completely destroyed it for. Now, we have no idea what that is, so I'm actually going to do a jump. So I just got to concentrate on this. We got 3 mechs coming out. I'm going to jump to the forest line here. That gives me 5 evasion pips into the forest, and I can get a look and see what the first mech is. Alright, so we got another fire starter coming in. That's going to be a pain in the ass, so that's the lead spitter's job. And we'll find out soon enough, I guess. Let's do a sensor lock. What are you? Stinger. Alright, so he's got a light mech. So this doesn't look like it's going to be anything too heavy here. But it is going to be annoying to catch. I'm going to get the evasion picks up on 6-pack around the left. I'm actually going to bring them all over here.
I'm ready.
We're only going to get to 2. God, the disco back is slow. And Archangel is not a fantastic pilot. That's about as far as he's going to be able to cross anyway.
Throttle.
There won't be any firing this turn. All our mechs are built for medium to short range, so I need them to close on us first.
Full throttle.
McEvity's Fusiliers, is that a reference or just a name? It's a reference. You seen that first-person shooter base building game for Starship Troopers, Mags? Looks like if you'd like Starship Troopers. I'm a huge fan of Starship Troopers. I have seen it. I haven't got the game yet.
My old mama can hit harder than
Money
that.
has been impressively tight on this end, so I haven't actually done much in the way of game buying. And it hasn't popped up on Game Pass, I don't think. Otherwise, I'd pick it up there. Oh, down to 2 pips. Not good. God, the mobility on these things is going to be a pain.
Confirmed.
Alright, Phantom. Don't. That's... I gotta keep the jump up. I gotta do the jump. Yeah, gotta do the jump. That should prevent me from getting the back, or presenting the back. I go for a precision shot just to get the Stinger out of play if I can.
Engaging target. Ha! You like that?
It's a start.
What now?
Alright.
Orders?
Yeah, it'll have to be the 6-pack.
Affirmative.
Down to 2, Wyatt's got it. Alright, I'm just going to roll with everything, even though we got 44% on the SRM6s, because if they land, this thing doesn't have any center torso armor.
Locking in target.
Cool, engine destroyed. It's out of play. Alright, that's one of the Nats destroyed.
Mech
If
destroyed.
these are light, those other 2 mechs we haven't ID'd yet, these could be over 50 tons apiece. So I need these out of the way, otherwise they're going to harrow down my armor or rip down my armor. And then whatever these are going to come over the ridgeline and just pound me like I'm asking for it.
Acknowledged.
And I'm just, yeah, you're just not going to be in range for anything. So you can just brace and stay there. I think the heavy mechs have been a bit thin on in this campaign. Yeah, I haven't had a lot. We got some very early luck on parts, but that's been it.
Full throttle.
Like, we got those Atlas, 2 Atlas parts, like, in the first or second stream. It was great, and then just nothing since. Whatever that is has an SRM... Oh, sorry, an LRM... Looked like... No, it wasn't a 10, that'd be 5. That's a 15. Okay, so one of them's likely a trebuchet. One of them is likely a trebuchet. I'm not sure what the other one is, but they've both got LRMs. FASA's collapse was an ugly affair, and Microsoft was more interested in rebranding the leftovers for the Xbox original too. Yeah, well, they did a good job.
I await your command.
Microsoft did some fantastic work. MechWarrior 4, while it wasn't as good as MechWarrior 3, largely because MechWarrior 3... Micropose specialised in doing simulation titles. And they understood that MechWarrior was always going to work best if it was treated in the same way that one treats a flight simulator. That's what made MechWarrior 3 so fantastic. It wasn't that the missions were particularly good, it wasn't that the engine was particularly amazing, it wasn't anything like that. It was just the way the game was presented. They understood that MechWarrior would be less as an arcade game, but more treated as a genuine simulator, which is something I've been pushing for ages. I think, honestly, somebody needs to build a DCS-styled simulation of the BattleTech universe. Full-on, flip the switches in the cockpit, MFDs for modes, and seriously look at the way a mech would move, weight-wise, on terrain, and variable gravity for different planets, and build a sim that way. And I think it would be something else. That is my opinion, though, but I think that would be a thing. MechWarrior 4, however, was a fantastic game. MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries is one of my favourite of the series. It was really good. So they did a really good job there. And for the Xbox side of things, they did... Mech Assault. They did Mech Assault and Mech Assault 2, which, while not canon games, like they are very arcadey, they worked really well as well. They were great fun to play. So Microsoft did a really good job on both these games, but just the legal battles going on with Harmony Gold, obviously somebody in their legal team went, look, there's a lot going on here. We have the rights for everything, but they were getting nervous with all the legal battles that were going on, and thought we could potentially be dragged into this, and so they just stopped. They had Mech Assault 1 was great, Mech Assault 2 I think won awards, MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries and the expansion pack in between were almost universally liked. They all sold fantastically well. They had Mech Commander and Mech Commander 2, both of which went really well and sold really well. Again, fantastic games, really well enjoyed. And they just dropped everything. They dropped the entire IP. That was because of the Harmony Gold lawsuits, because that was right about the time they really started heating up. And yeah, they just dropped the entire thing. Which sucks all sorts of levels of balls, but that is what it is. Alright, let's get a look and see what the rest of these are. It's a Griffin and a Crusader. I was wrong. I think I spotted a Crusader Pathfinder. I'm not too interested in the Griffin. The Griffin can go jump, although it is slightly damaged. Crusader I wouldn't mind. I would not mind at all. Now that Firestarter is going to be a pain to deal with. Well, I'll rough up the Crusader a touch. There were a few people playing semi-competitive MechWarrior 4 using Steel Battalion controllers. Yeah, that was the thing. There was all sorts of custom mods for controllers. Like, there was... MechWarrior was building up the kind of dedicated player base in the late 90s, early 2000s that we see in modern flight simming. It was actually getting to that level. There were people building custom cockpits. There was a competitive scene that was building up. It was one of the first games that I ever saw that had like an almost production level mod pack produced for. The MechTech packs. You could buy those on CD, and they were like an unofficial expansion for the game. It was one of the first games that I ever saw anything like that happen, and then it just was dropped clean, and everything just sort of died off. So, like, it was... Harmony Gold, there's a lot of reasons to hate Harmony Gold, but I will forever loathe them because MechWarrior was building up to be something else. And then the whole thing just kind of died. And it was because of those lawsuits. Have I lost so many mechs yet? No, I have not, Dead Meat. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm just going to lob the SRMs and see what hits. They got a lower chance to hit than the medium lasers, but I want to keep the heat off as much as possible. Although I think I'll throw a few of them in. Yeah, we'll go with just 2. We'll cycle 2. Only 29. 39, 32. Odd. Alright, we'll cycle those 2.
Engaging target.
I think my first mech game was Cyberstorm, and yes, BattleTech reminds me of it a lot. I've been trying... Mission Force, Cyberstorm, and the Earth Siege games are actually some of the few mech games I do not have in my collection. I've got MechWarrior 2 Ghost Bear's Legacy, MechWarrior 3 Pirate Moon, both MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, and the Black Knight expansions. I've got the whole lot in a box behind me. I've also got Heavy Gear 1 and 2. So I've got those sitting behind me as well. I don't have a CD drive, but I can organise to get those ripped. But I don't have the Earth Siege games, and I don't have Mission Force Cyberstorm. I've been thinking about trying to round those up. I've got Mech Commander and Mech Commander 2 as well. But I've been trying to round those up because I've been thinking about doing a retro playthrough just to have a, give you a bit of a comparison of what else was being made. There was some really interesting stuff, and there were really interesting universes that have just been dropped clean because BattleTech became unpopular, and so what happens, you see this in gaming everywhere, when a major publisher decides that something isn't going to be pursued anymore, what happens? Every other publisher also decides that they're not going to pursue this thing anymore either. So, Microsoft dropped MechWarrior because of the legal battles, and at the same time there was talk about a Heavy Gear 3 going into development. Well, that got dropped, and Sierra didn't even have a chance to drop it. They were just straight bought by Blizzard, so they went. And if there was ever... Well, actually, I think it's probably fair to say that World of Warcraft is what killed any chance of Blizzard doing anything with the IPs they had. Because after World of Warcraft, Blizzard didn't do anything with any of the IPs they had. Blizzard has a 50, 60 fantastic IPs sitting underneath it that haven't seen the light of day in 2 to 3 decades.
Waiting for orders.
It is one of the reasons why I'm actually for the Microsoft merger. I don't care much about the monopoly bullshit at all, in the slightest. Microsoft's way of doing business is once they own everything, they basically put all of the IPs up for potential licensing. And if anybody's interested in them, that's how much they cost. You buy the license and there you go. That's how Piranha wound up with the MechWarrior IP for MechWarrior Online. Microsoft just put it up for it and they picked it up. And they'll do the same thing with all of those long-lost IPs as well. Once that happens and they come out of the dark, maybe somebody will pick them up and do something with them. It's a long shot, but it's better than no shot at all. Let's pull that one out to keep the cooling on, and we'll drop these 2 at 45 as well. Actually, we can go a little bit further. Temperatures here aren't too bad. We'll just pull, well, obviously the small. Actually, no, we just leave the smalls up. They're not going to hit anyway. We've got a small obstruction here, so this may not land. A couple of them have. The last game by Sierra I ever bought was SWAT 4. Yeah, SWAT, there's another IP that Sierra had. I never played SWAT. I obviously Mission Force and the Earth Siege games.
Ready to rock.
And I was actually really fond of Sierra's old adventure games. You know, things like The Dig and the rest. Sierra had a whole bunch of those. I think the Dig was actually LucasArts, but Sierra had a whole bunch of games that were like that. I was pretty fond of those.
I got you.
You have to get the points down.
Now let's see how you handle this. Critical hit.
Another mech game that I feel is underrated is Star Siege. I think Star Siege is actually a variant that was created out of the Earthsiege universe, as I recall. I think it's actually an offshoot of it after the Earthsiege IP essentially got buried. I think somebody picked it up. That was an autocannon. We're going to have to close in a little closer. That fire starter just has to go, and it has to go now. Because it's just going to keep pulling armor off everything. There we go. Jump jets destroyed. That's going to slow you down, you little bastard.
Critical damage detected.
Fire starter's got spot
damage.
Yeah, structure exposed, so it's lost all armor on a spot. It's only an arm. Center torso's looking a little rough. Yeah, everything else is much of a muchness. The arms are a bit, yeah, the arm's exposed. And the other arm's not looking particularly great either. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. We can press on with that. Let's get the 6-pack into the edge of the jungle so we can actually start, well, the tree line, so we can actually start getting some evasion bonuses. And that is... Do we have more mechs coming in? I hope we've got nothing coming down that ridge line on this map. I'm assuming those are the ambushes. And not going to be the primary mission target. Alright, 6-pack. Yeah, we'll just hit this thing again.
Looking honest.
And break theirs. Amazing that the fire starter is more dangerous than most of the other mechs that I'm facing here. Just because of its mobility. MechWarrior 4 was kept alive by fans well over a decade in the dark times when there were no other options. It still is now. It's still supported, and there are still, if you can find the right places to connect to, there are still people that will play it multiplayer. There's some legal issues, because Microsoft... When they abandoned the IP, Microsoft essentially gave free rights to distribute to MechWarrior 4. Somebody in Microsoft decided that they wanted to see if they could keep this whole culture that was building around it running while they were waiting to find out what was going on. And that continued through until Piranha got the IP to build MechWarrior Online. And at that point, they wanted all of the sort of the free distribute version of MechWarrior 4 out, because they obviously wanted everybody to play their game. That's sort of where it started tightening up. Up until about 2014, you could just download MechWarrior 4 and Mech 4 Mercenaries, and that was it. Like, there was no restrictions on it at all. There was a custom installer for it. It was completely legal and fair.
Behind you.
Right. Cool. That got rid of him.
That's a kill.
You have Crusader parts. Can't remember how many, though. Yeah, I do have Crusader parts. I think I've only got one. So I would need to clean cockpit shot this one to get it. which
Confirmed.
there is very, very little chance of actually happening.
Ten four.
Into the tree line.
Locking on with all weapon systems.
Alright, there is 4 more mechs coming in. This is a little bit more of a concern now. And one of them's a Vulcan. Okay. So it's going to be 9 mechs that I've got to take out, and I've got 6 on me now. Wolverine. Alright, so these are the heavy. Structure exposed on the 6-pack.
Internal structure disintegrating.
And this is why this is such a risk.
Internal structure
Those
damage.
light mechs have pulled off most of the armor on a couple of our mechs and exposed them. We now have a Griffin, a Wolverine, the Vulcan, 2 more unknowns that could potentially be up to 60 tons apiece. We've got the Crusader over here, and a couple of our
Standing
mechs
by.
have already been stripped down. Just because it's taken so long to deal with that light. Shit. I gotta present left. And get
On
into
my
that
way.
Crusader is going to be the best option. Right, LRM-15 in the Crusaders popped.
Critical hit, Commander. I'm melting in here.
Thank you very much for the 10 dead meat. I don't know why you donated. Lose a mech peasant. That's like that might happen. There's actually an awfully good chance of you getting your wish there, you bastard. Alright. We got to get rid of the Crusader first. It has to go. I'm going to have to start watching heat management here too. Alright, you know what? Let's go for the cockpit. And I'm just going to cycle everything. Yeah, this is going to push us close to overheat, but I kind of need to roll the dice on that one. Come on. Take the head, please.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Well, I won't be recovering that one, but all of the Crusaders' weapon systems, no, they're not. If I recall correctly, the Crusader has missile launchers in its legs,
Ready for orders.
so it actually does still have weapons. Disco back
Rolling.
melee to cool it off,
Engaging.
and it misses. Of course it does. I find LRM barrages to be hugely highly satisfying in this game. It's why I'm looking for some other heavies, so I can switch my Archer from this SRM-6 boat that I've got it built as at the moment, back to a full-on LRM boat, and have it as my mass support mech. What do we got? God, look at all that metal. 1, 2. Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, that's the veteran mech warrior. Or at least I suppose we can find out what that is. So if we jump... Yeah, that'll get us IDs on most of everything, and there should be... Although that is a lot of firepower to try and dodge. Shit. Which way to go here? Dervish. I go for the 4 pips.
Lifting off.
Keep it at range, and then use sensor lock. Can I get a sensor lock on that? I can. What is our target?
Got a lock.
It's Thunderbolt. Oh, that's a lot of metal.
Showing minor damage.
This wouldn't be so bad, but I just don't have enough armor to be able to shirt front all of them at once.
I'm under heavy fire.
The first BattleTech video game was BattleTech: The Crescent Hawk's Revenge in 1988 by Westwood. I thought Crescent Hawk's Revenge was the second one, because there was the Crescent Hawk something, and then Crescent Hawk's Revenge, which were, I think, although it might have been the other way around. They were interesting games though, because the Crescent Hawks games are actually a top-down RPG. I've played them. They were an old school late 80s top-down RPG, DOS-based RPG. Light mechs can be legitimately scary in 2018. They're worse in BEX mod. BEX and BattleTech Advanced,
Yes,
because
Commander.
the tabletop rules actually, in BattleTech Vanilla, light mechs phase out to heavy. But in BEX and BattleTech Advanced, they actually get some of their tabletop bonuses, which means they actually can compete with assault mechs if you can get good enough pilots in them and you know how to use them. Like, they can be as hard to kill as an assault mech, just off of the invasion, providing you keep them up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's him out.
Enemy down.
Oh. Thunderbolt's going for the lead spitter, which is the last thing I want the lead spitter tanking. They're too clumped up. Where can I drag these bastards back to? It's not really anywhere to go. Don't really have the mobility. Alright, this is kind of a dumb idea. I have no idea if this will work or not, but we will give this a shot.
Full throttle.
We've got two problems here. First things first, we've got too much enemy armor to deal with all at once, and we don't have enough firepower to go through with it, and we don't have enough armor to be able to tank it. Second problem...
Engaging jump jet.
is our mechs are overheating just dealing with what we've got. We've taken down 3, all of our mechs are on their heat thresholds right now. And so I can't keep alpha striking. So I'm going to try and retreat everybody back to the water and bring them around here into this nook in the water here. Hopefully, the faster mechs will separate from the slower mechs and we'll get them to single file around the corner, and then we can just blast them in the face as they try and make the rounds. My concern is the disco back won't actually be fast enough to be able to make
Took
it.
a critical hit.
Yeah, I bet you did. Critical hit. Yeah, he's lost his actuator. He's only going to be walking now. This isn't
Location
good.
confirmed.
Yeah, it's entirely possible he's just going to get his rear armor torn up. There's nothing else I can do for him either. Rainmaker, is this a new playthrough? No, it's not. This is the continuation of the last playthrough. Just with a small break due to a few medical issues on my end.
Internal structure damage.
Gotta love 1 AM Aussie streams. My wife doesn't. I am trying to catch up with chat here too, guys. I understand I'm a little bit behind.
Trouble.
There's no someone about it. Left leg destroyed. Yeah, we're gonna lose the disco back. And with the disco back's firepowers what are down, there is no way known we're getting through the rest of that.
I'm gonna need a medic.
Yeah, this is a wash. There's 300 tons
Showing minor
of
damage.
metal there. At least. Yeah, 300 to 400 tons in that, and there is no way known we're going to be able to take it out with what we've got. Yeah, this is going to be a withdrawal. Bad faith, get fucked.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we were just going to lose those mechs. There's no way known we were going to be able to get through all that. There's 116,000 plus repairs, and we just lost. We've now got injured pilots out, and we just lost rep with Marek, which is the opposite for what we were trying to do. At least they let us take the Crusader part off the field. And it looks like we got 1 part Firestarter as well. And most of the Crusader's weapons are in its arms. Yeah, most of it's in the arms. I think it's got a missile launcher, an SRM-4 or an SRM-6 in each leg as well, as I recall. It's one of the oddities with the Crusader. It's actually got leg-mounted weapon systems. Alright, well, we got the 1 part of the Firestarter is at least going to help us recuperate some losses here. So we're going to build a H model, because it's the most valuable, and then we're going to sell it straight away. Here. And you're going to need some refits. So, we lost heat sinks. Right, that's not a major concern. We've got a few in stock. Up to 50, 4 days. Cool.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
Did some quick Googling, and you're right. Star Siege is basically an expanded story into the space, while Earth Siege is, well, basically on Earth. Yep. Crusader has missile launchers in the legs. Height for rise of the Warthog intensifies. Russ, actually. Let's have a look at the Star League map at the moment, because I believe... No, not yet. We're at the point at the moment when some of the younger empires are starting to form. And yeah, Rasselhog will be forming soon. What is that? Tournament of Champions. And Beetlejuice. $1 million cash prize. Your deeds in the field of battle have earned you an invitation to my Tournament of Champions. Join us. It'll take place in the arena against your periphery's finest warriors. 2 Skull Flashpoint. Okay. That's something we could look at. How far away is that? Only 22 days. Alright, we might head there next and do Tournament of Champions. Well, not next stream. I might keep that one on. But we're going to have to make up some money while we're here. I'm really disappointed with that mission, to be perfectly honest. Alright, I'm going to quickly catch up with the chat, and then I reckon we're going to do Trap Sprung. Just a straight battle, 2 Skull in the Highlands. We'll get some mechs repaired. And we'll try and swap out some of the loadout too. Get some other mech warriors in. Nothing says the stuff of nightmares like Space Vikings and Samurai cross-pollinating for generations and then being given mechs. Gotta love this universe, don't you? The beloved Thundy, good mech with an explosive tendency. I wouldn't have mind access to the Thunder, it's just that the Thunderbolt coupled with everything else that's there. Yeah, I thought so. Crescent Hawk's Inception was first and then Revenge. Yeah, that's the two. And the story passes from one to the other. Go for the water so you can cool off better. They ain't fancy, just a dump truck of armor and weapon mounts. Yet they'd be perfect as a front liner and let me reconfigure the Archer, but yeah. Yeah, damage leg on the slowest mech, unlucky. Yeah, my dice rolls are always terrible in this campaign. Like, it is bad. I do wonder why you'd piss off the pirates. Black market is such a great source of early heavies, but prices are based on pirate rep. This is true. However, there is some downsides to pissing off the great houses, in BEX at least. So the reason why I'm so interested in building reputation with the various factions, which there are a few in BEX mod, is because you've got the entire inner sphere modelled in BEX. If you can get yourself up to a really nice high, like maxed out reputation with any of the factions, they give you a rank and they give you permission to go to their manufacturing worlds. Now, the manufacturing worlds will let you buy essentially brand new mechs. Whatever the unique mechs are and the unique mech configurations are that are for each of the factions, you can buy them straight off the manufacturing line. So while you don't get access to the mech stuff that you would get from the pirates by pissing the pirates off, pissing off the great houses will actually cause you to not get as good a missions. The pirate missions are always a bit shit. And if you can make the great houses happy, eventually you can get access to near Star League level stuff that you can buy straight off the manufacturing line, no problems at all. They'll also give you like premium access to whatever major stocks they have. So you can go and buy a brand new Atlas if you make Steiner happy, for example. Like straight from the manufacturing line. Well, you know, from the refurb line, let's put it that way. And those mechs that are in production, you can just go and buy them. And yeah, BEX does nerf the black market heavily, as Zero says. But not... Actually, I wouldn't say it's that heavily done. It does mess with the prices a lot, though. All the prices are amplified so that unless you've got a lot of money, even with the pirates happy, the costs are going to be fairly excessive right from the word go. And they become essentially impossible once you make the pirates angry. But, yeah, it is what it is. If it's anything like BTA, mission difficulty variability is very big. I've explained this one before. BTA and BEX and actually every mod for BattleTech will have the same problem with mission variability. Because there's an inbuilt section of the code that none of the modders have ever been able to remove. I found this out actually talking to some people that work on these mods. BattleTech in its core actually has a hard-coded piece of code that you can't bypass that varies the mission ability by up to a skull. So when they overlay their own code, it's entirely possible that you can get a variation of anywhere up to 2 skulls in any of the mods. So you can get a 3-skull mission that'll potentially drop a fucking Atlas if you want. That incidentally, this is how I have 2 Atlas parts sitting in my hangar. We got I think it was a 2-skull mission, and I don't think we had a single mech. You'd have to go back through the live streams to find the correct one, but I don't think we had a single mech at the time that was over 45 tons. And we got to the end of the mission, and there was a crippled pirate Atlas sitting at the end of it. And we managed to take it out. We got 2 parts out of it, so we lucked out. But yeah, we only had 45 tons was our heaviest. I don't think we even had a Shadowhawk then. And yeah, we've had a couple of those where another example was the X. Everyone will recall the mission with the X, the pirate duel with the one that's hunting down, and we showed up in a in one of the lead spitters. So we showed up in a fire starter, and the the enemy showed up in a mauler. No, sorry, Warhammer. It was a Warhammer. It wasn't a mauler. It was a Warhammer. That went
Nice to
about
see
as
you
well
down
as you
here
would
in
expect
the
it to
hole.
go. Right. So everything's ordered for repair. What we've got available at the moment is a Griffin, Wolverine, we've got the Raven, the Hunchback J. Which isn't the proper sway back, but it's got the LRM-20 on it. It's set up as a support. And we've got the Royal Griffin, which is an expensive piece of kit to be risking. But might be worth it. Really need a better PPC for that though. This really deserves a double plus. Alright, we might have to wait for our mechs to get repaired at the very least, but we're going to rotate out some pilots. Obviously we've got some injuries now too that are going to keep us out for a bit. We've got 5 days. We can afford to wait until the 6-pack and the Archer are completed. That leaves us with 3. Disco back will have to be switched out. For light missions with light mechs, actually, I'd like to wait 1 more day. Ah, shit. What we're going to have to do... My bad. Manage tasks. Oh no, it did complete. Cool. Alright. Okay, that was really odd. It was out of order. Just confirm that. Make sure the lead spitter is repaired. Because if we're doing a lighter mission, we're going to have mobility. So we want a mobile light mech killer. And that's really what the lead spitter's good at. It's the ultimate light mech killer. That whole configuration is built specifically for pulling light and medium mechs apart. Alright, contracts. Let's get ourselves a new one up and see if we can actually make some money this time. So we'll do Trap Sprung. Standard Battle, Highlands, 2 Skulls. We will negotiate this one. I'll leave it at 1.4 with 471. That won't cover all of this month's expenses, but it will at the very least take the edge off. And if we get something that's worth salvaging, we get 1 pick and 4 parts. So that should be okay. Now, Claymore is still out, Cerberus is still out, and Phantom is still out. So we're switching pilots here. We will bring the Royal Griffin. And... should really probably cycle out the Archer, to be honest. No, we'll keep the Archer in play. We'll keep the Archer in play. Alright, so Beach Ball's our alternative pilot. Apex. What is Apex normally driving? Apex has actually got 4 rounds in the Griffin, so we will put Apex in the other Griffin. That'll actually work, because we've got Breaching Shot with a PPC, so that's nice. Who, so what's the who? Sure-footing, multi-shot, Tango. Yeah, probably want drill bit in the Archer, better aiming for the more weapons, and we'll put Tango in 6-pack. So the B team with a mix of B, well actually I don't reckon there's anything there that's really B team level mechs either. I mean a Royal Griffin is still a Royal Griffin. Didn't hit the primary target, hence bad faith. You're right, I probably should have turned around and put a shot into the primary target before pulling out. But regardless, still kind of a... eh. Allying will also give a big discount. Yep, that goes hand in hand with it as well. The costs on all manufacturing worlds for the whoever you're allied with start tapering off, and then on top of that, your final bonus is you get a... it's sort of like a mission that pops up that you can go to, that it gives you a location that gives you access to a store that is not available otherwise, and you can just buy all the really nice stuff. That explains why Mag is trying to be friendly with Marek. Yet Marek and Davian. Marek and Davian I'm focusing on. Normally I would focus on Steiner, because being able to buy freshly refurbished Atlases is... you know, I am a fan of the Atlas. But we're playing in the south at the moment, so I want to get Marek and Davian happy. Don't care about the Capellans all that much, so we'll kick the teeth out of the Capellans all day long. Oh, that's right. The Royal Griffin's got ECM. Well, we should keep these grouped up then.
Don't need to tell me twice. We'll go.
Black Market is so fun and OP in Vanilla BT. Yeah, I take a lot of advantage of it in Vanilla, but BEX changes the rules slightly. If you want to make full usage of the Black Market, you have to treat the pirates like a faction. And you have to be willing to fight every other faction. Now, this can get you access to a lot of really good mechs, but you won't get any of the specific ones. And you'll simultaneously have to fight everybody all at once, and you've got to really work on it to get them happy. And if you do anything that can annoy them at all in any way, shape or form, like, it will annoy them. So yeah, you actually have to be dedicated to a pirate campaign to really make use of the Black Market. The main use for having access to the main market, if you're not doing a dedicated pirate playthrough in BEX, is really for getting access to rare ammunition. The ammunition, even if they don't like you, is generally not unaffordable. It can be ridiculously expensive, but you know, if you're after very specific ammunition, like gauze rounds or something, you can get access to it. The mech parts are basically bullshit. Like, I think at the moment, a medium mech chess piece will cost me somewhere in the vicinity of like 60 million C-bills, so...
Moving out.
Let's keep everybody grouped together.
Confirmed.
Coordinates received.
I'm picking up a new sensor trace. Looks like enemy reinforcements.
I just want my stupid non-cannon PPC shotgun Warhammer. A Warhammer with double stub nose. Black Market is OP, looks at 2 Atlas 2s in Mech Bay, no comment.
Waiting for orders.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Hope you're feeling better. The campaign is long expected with the flashpoints. Yes, I am feeling much better now, as you can hear. Yeah, I needed a big chunk of that time. Like, it was annoying me that I wasn't streaming, guys, but I did need a big chunk of that time. I was really messed. Why, hello there. Were we not just talking about suitable frontline mechs? Fucking Davian not giving me enough options for mech parts. Bastards. We only can get one part of him. In vanilla, you can just buy Royal Mechs from the black market. It ain't happening in BEX. Well,
Awaiting orders.
I have seen parts pop up, but you'd want to have a really good playthrough money-wise to have even the slightest hope in hell of being able to pay the price they're asking for. And that's assuming they like you. If they don't like you, yeah, you can't earn enough money. Alright, so I'm going to go for a breaching shot on the Warhammer with the PPC from the Royal Griffin.
Target locked.
Like, most certainly got his attention. He's got no armor on it either.
Waiting for orders.
Alright, 6-pack. Alright, so we got mechs coming from this side, so I really want to take advantage of the tree line and the terrain through here. So I'm actually going to rush 6-pack through. Do I usually stream this late? 10:20 here in the West Oz. As a general rule, yes, I've been trying not to. Well, at least that's what I was trying to do last time. But at the moment, with the net issues since the floods, I've got to get any reliable connection. It's going to have to be late, just for the just to clear the bandwidth. As I said, I'm not sure what damage the floodwaters did, but like we lost all reception in this area, not just like regular phone and internet. We lost mobile phone reception in here for a couple of days in the middle of that as well. So
Commander?
Water got somewhere it wasn't supposed to be, and that has caused some issues. So, and it still hasn't been repaired now. Like, we'll still have mobile phones now that'll just drop out for 5 minutes and there'll be no reception. Not even emergency calls for 5 minutes. It'll just disappear. So they're still trying to sort it out. So yes, going back to late streams is going to be a thing.
On the move.
And we'll do the same thing again. Breaching shot, PPC.
Engaging target.
Not an LRM-30 Griffin 2N. Nope. No. Went with the PPC build on this one when I put it back together. For pretty much exactly what I've got in mind now. An EMC boat with designed for breaching shot. Also, I didn't have good enough missile launchers to do a build like that.
Aye, aye.
We're only going to get one part pick anyway, but at least I know what I'm bringing on the field.
Think I hit something good.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Drillbit's piloting skills are trash. You are really slow. Gotta sprint the Archer just to keep it up. And no one cares about the Capellans? Well, there are some people out there that like the Capellans. They're weird. But there are some people. At least I assume. I've never actually met one, but I've been told they exist. For a favourite mech, I'm probs going for Marauder 2. I've had this this discussion in the past. Yeah, I said I'm a bit of a normie. I like me Atlas. I like me Atlases. Let's see if I can I suppose it doesn't really matter. I'll jump him out of the ECM. Pull him back. Get out.
Scored a critical hit.
Yeah, that thing has no armor on it anywhere. I'll punch a Warhammer to finish it. There we go. Alright, Warhammer's out of play. Yeah, but as I was saying, yeah, I'm a bit of a normie. I like me Atlas for me Inosphere mechs, and I like me Timberwolves for the clans. If you take those away, oh, there's so many. Alright, clan mechs. It depends on weight. I do like my Stormcrows, or Ryokans. They are a very nice piece of gear. I've got a soft spot from the Nova as well, but it was the older versions of the Nova. The rebuild of it gave the Nova torso twist. I like the Nova more back when it had no ability to torso twist. It made it a unique mech. Just way too many lasers, not enough heat sinks, jump capable, but no torso twist at all. Or, you know, a very limited amount within the leg mounts. Assault mechs, Warhawk. Warhawk would be my favourite, easily. I love that mech. Just an angry armoured box on legs with quad PPCs. It's beautiful. We're going to find out what these are. Well, here's the light mechs that I was wondering when would show up.
Aye, aye.
Alright, well, we'll keep the range on the Griffin. And we'll just go to here and breaching
Copy
shot
that.
from the... Yeah, breaching shot. Again. Low chance to hit. But we'll see. Yeah, miss. No biggie. Need to get the fire starter in on that one. For Inosphere mechs, I do like my Ravens in the light mech. I actually quite like the modern remake of the Locust as well. I think they're a pretty cool machine. Centurions. So many little bastards. What are you over the back there?
Standing by.
Waiting for orders.
What's up, boss?
Let's six back off the side and fire a shot. Yeah, Centurion with the shield arm, I'm a big fan of. The Hatchetman.
That hit something good.
Just all the really wild stuff that the Inosphere came up with over the years.
Commander?
You know, Warhammer is an obvious one. I am fond of my Warhammers. It's easy for me to write a short list of mech designs that I don't like, and even that's probably going to be near zero. You know, probably the Phoenix Hawk, and it's simply because it's just too much of an anime design. It looks... Everything else in the BattleTech universe looks like it should be there, but the
Coordinates received.
The Phoenix Hawk and the flight capable mechs just don't look like they fit. It's like Gundam showed up to a tank battle. It doesn't look right.
Taking the shot.
Don't care about the Capellans. We'll kick the teeth out of them. Nods in approval. Ah, yes. Mick Candy, Dick here. We're doing some Dark Tide tomorrow. Isn't there a flight on tomorrow night? I was pretty sure it was
Waiting for orders.
Flying Circus on the Unprofessional server tomorrow night. If there's not, I'm entirely up for entirely up for it. The only thing is, I think I've only got Dark Tide on Game Pass, and I've been informed that apparently the Game Pass version is running on a different patch release to the Steam version, so we may not be able to crossplay. As to why they're doing that, I have absolutely no idea, but apparently that is a thing. Alright, so we could completely annihilate this Stinger.
Commencing Alpha Strike.
Yeah, we'll completely annihilate this Stinger.
And stay down.
Good. What kind of class do you think you want to do? At the moment, trying to get around the crashes has been an issue. I've had 9 crashes on this game in about 3 or 4 hours of play. It's been ridiculous. But I was playing around with just a marksman class. And I was playing around with the Psyker as well. Haven't tried any of the others yet. Haven't been able to get past the constant constant crashes and crash to desktops and disconnects. Weren't Novas designed as an elemental bus along with a fire moth? Kinda. They were used for that. I don't recall it being in their initial design profile. The one of the big things with the Nova was it was I forget the details for it, but it was just somebody in the clans wanted to build something that was essentially a one-shot wonder. It had a ridiculous number of medium lasers, and that was it. And it was almost a dueling mech. It fired once, immediately overheated itself and nearly shut down, but whatever it's hit was nearly pulled to pieces in that moment. And we haven't got range on anything anyway, so I can just brace that one. I don't remember the lore behind it, but I remember it was built as a second line mech, and it had a very specific purpose, and it was just for that initial, one shot, and essentially take the enemy down in a single salvo.
Move order received.
Raven is my favourite light mech. Only good thing the Capellans ever did. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Minor damage, Commander. Nothing to see here. Standing by.
This ECM is really messing with them. Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to take more advantage of the Royal Griffin here.
I'm there.
This is causing them all sorts of problems.
All weapons are go.
And they're about to run into a lot of problems because they're getting into melee range. Somerset Hellskull, Land Air Mechs. Yeah, Land Air Mechs. They don't look like they fit within the setting.
Commander?
Yeah, it's nothing really wrong with I suppose it really is what's wrong with the design. I've got nothing against the loadouts or the capabilities on them. They look odd. Let's turn the small laser on.
On my way. Let's see how you like this.
Well, that's going to really cut down its mobility. Although that might cut down more of its mobility.
Target's taking a critical hit.
That was actually a surprisingly good melee attack out of that too.
I hear ya.
Well, maybe I wasn't giving this thing enough credit.
Uh-huh. Going toe-to-toe.
You're right, forgot to check the Unpro event schedule. We'll see how it goes. If nothing else, we can connect cross-platform.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, I'm not uninstalling it. I'm going to keep trying with it because I really like the game. Dark Tide is a fantastic game.
Commander?
I seem to be finding every single crash problem that exists. Well, that explains what the last one was. I suppose the giant ECM field should have given that away. And
Copy that, Commander.
for a bad time there, Raven.
Copy that, Commander. Critical
Goodbye,
hit,
countermeasures.
Commander.
Receiving you.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to the flight tomorrow night, and actually getting to do some World War I stuff. It has
Moving
been
out.
way too long.
I copy.
Let's blow the hell out of this one. Get rid of it. There it goes. Alright, Raven's out.
Hostile eliminated.
The rest of these don't matter. We've only got one part recovery, and I know exactly
Aye, aye.
what piece I'm taking. I'm taking that Warhammer component because it's a Warhammer, and I think we already have one. So we need as many as we can get. So the rest of this was just mopping up.
Enemy down.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use that more often.
Mission successful.
If you want mags, I'll throw you the TTS mod for Battlefleet Gothic, although I play BFG XR, which is a fan edition redo of the classic rules. I can throw you the rulebooks on Discord too. Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a look. I'd definitely be interested. Quite partial to the Vindicator as well as the Raven, but yeah, regardless of Inner Sphere or Pentagon Capellants, the reason we have yes. Warhawk is great, although I personally prefer the Direwolf. Yeah, the Dushy's okay, but the Dushy is, like, there's something about the Warhammer. It's just a giant armoured box. It's like a bunker with legs. The Dushy is, it's a bit sleeker and a bit rounder. It sort of looks like a 100-ton Timberwolf without the missile racks. It's a nice mech, but for its size, it's a little too elegant. The other clan assault mech I like is the Kodiak, which is Clan Ghost Bear, and that's because it's basically what if the clans built an Atlas, and they based it on a bear as a concept. So it's just a big walking bulk of metal, just like the Atlas is, with a Clan Ultra AC-20 built into its chest. So it's another one that I'm fond of as well. But the Warhawk, I like it because of what it looks like. It is straight up a World War II style armored bunker with quad PPCs and legs. Like, that's all it is. It's the perfect design for an assault mech. Alright, well, we took basically no damage in that. Everybody sort of got some kills across the board, and I am taking that Warhammer part because we have one part already. That'll bring us up to 2, and everything else well, the Mongoose part would be nice because we could sell that, but otherwise I do not give a toss. Oh, we got the Stinger. That's fine. Don't care. Well, we'll get a PPC as well. Cool. And five standard medium lasers to go in the pile. So, now we only need to find 2 more Warhammer parts. I've been playing this BattleTech, but I never thought it was a 34GB size. It's a huge size for a turn-based game with a small map. Yeah, it's like everything nowadays. Like, all the sizes of games are blown out. I mean, XCOM's what? 25, 30 gig as well? You're right, Vindicators are pretty nice as well. Yeah, the Vindicators are nice. I wouldn't put them in my favourite pile, but I'd have nothing against them. They're just a nice all-rounder. I was actually curious, what factions you like in Battlefleet Gothic? If I was to guess, I'd say you just play Imperial Navy. Actually, when I was playing PvP in the first one a lot, I was playing a lot of Chaos. But I do like Imperial Navy, yes. But Chaos was my alternate fleet. Chaos, particularly Chaos running carrier groups. And carrier groups and boarding party setups was my preference. Right. Just quickly go through and do a bay check on all the mechs. What time is it at the moment? It is 1:46. I can probably go one more. Yep, everything's good, except the disco back, which is still under repair, which is fine. We will need to cycle everybody down, so that was our one shot. But that's fine. We're up to 4.2 million, 2 days out. So everybody needs a bit of a break so I can bring everybody out of fatigue.
I wrapped up that job.
Disco backs repaired, and there's the financials. Alright, so that'll bring us down to 3.7 million funds, which is good. We're floating where we should be. Operating expenses were 502. We made for 450,000 on the last mission. So that covers most of it, barring a little bit in between. Repairs were the most expensive part over the last month because we broke a couple of mechs pretty badly in there. We'll leave that as standard and give everybody another couple of days to get out of fatigue. Alright, so Archangel's still going to be out for another 8 days. Financial report is in 27 days. Contracts. Have we got anything else we can run here? We're not doing the Capellans. Full house. Base destruction. 2.5 skulls. Cease and desist. We're not doing the escort either because screw both of those. That's offering 418 on the salvage. 314, 50,000 more on Tundra in the Highlands. Against Capellans, which is definitely a plus for this mission, and will be a facility on Alexandra, also where they have called a Capellan Hussars unit. Protection, the facility confirming our intel. We'll need a mercenary company to provide us with plausible deniability. We're now turning to you for a military solution. The facility must be destroyed. Okay. We have reliable information that a remote Capellan laboratory is attempting to reverse engineer sensitive Davidian technology in violation of the usage license. They're both against Capellans, so they're both fine. Money difference isn't really much for the difficulty change. Like, I could leave that there, 210. We'd pull a whole bunch of salvage, which is valuable, off the field. 328, that pays more than half of our monthly expenditures at the start. Yeah, we're just going to run that mid. And we make the Federated Sons happy, which is nice. Alright, we're going to stick with this loadout. Although, we are going to switch drill bit out and put Claymore back in. Just because Claymore was... Actually, no. Drill bit has higher piloting skill. Why was Claymore more mobile? I have no idea. Regardless, I need the points on the rest of Claymore so he can pick up his final ability. So, we need that working through. Everybody else can stay as they are. Yep, we'll leave that as is and deploy. Just 2 more parts, how hard it can be. With this playthrough, about another 6 streams at the way we're going. Unity engine and high-res textures. Yeah, that's about the size of it. It's also worth remembering with BattleTech as well, they didn't build new 3D models for the mechs. Part of the reason why the mechs look so good when you zoom in on them is because they are straight-up copies of the mech models from MechWarrior Online and MechWarrior 5. Well, MechWarrior Online specifically, because that's where MechWarrior 5 got them from as well. So, if you could zoom the camera in even further, you could zoom it down to person level and look up, and they would still look absolutely fantastic, because the 3D models in MechWarrior Online are not terrible. And that's all they are. So, these are designed, 3D models designed to look up close, and we're looking at them from fairly far away, so...
Command interface.
Arctic Cheetah, Hellspawn, Ebon Jaguar, and Warhander are my fave battle mechs. That is a good pick. Hellspawn's not one that pops up all that often. It's nice to see the name. Chaos, huh? Yeah. Tzeentch. I play with Tzeentch fleets. Occasionally Nurgle, but Tzeentch was my main fleet. Laughing my ass off. My DCS and IL2 folders are needing 200 gigabyte in size each, nearly half of the terabyte dedicated to them. Yeah. Yeah, let's not talk about the reason why I have 2 NVMe SSDs. And one of them only has Microsoft Flight Simulator and DCS on it. That's it. Nothing else, and there is not space for anything else. Yeah. Alright, so that is the facility, and that would be where we're expecting the SARS to come from. No wings have been mentioned on those SARS, so it should be fine. And it looks like we've got tree line on both sides. It gets open once we come through. They're going to have cover clearing the corner, and they're likely going to come straight through here. And we have contacts already, but that is fine. Just keep everybody grouped up, so we're all under the ECM. Something I just thought about is there are no smoke launchers or smoke generators in BattleTech. Technically there are,
Commander?
but they wouldn't really reliably work. There are for vehicles, although they're not modelled in the game. And I haven't seen them modelled in any of the BattleTech or MechWarrior games. Vehicles do have smoke generators, though. But how do you cover a walking... something that's the size of a 4-story apartment block that's walking and shooting giant neon lasers with smoke? Like, how do you hide it? And most of the mechs in BattleTech have access to thermals that can see through at least normal smoke. You could build something, of course, that was designed to blind the thermals, but then you go to the clans and they have enhanced vision modes, which will see straight through any of that kind of stuff as well. And then it's just the sheer size of the vehicles that you're actually driving. Yeah, it does exist. It's not practical to be deployed on a battle mech, just because of the size of the objects you're trying to cover. You might as well be using smoke to cover a small building. But tanks do. The tanks have your tanks and your anti-mech or anti-tank vehicles, missile launching vehicles. They'll have smoke generators.
Roger that.
Alright, we have a Javelin. We're going to do breaching shot on the Javelin.
Firing on target.
Jump jets destroyed straight off the bat, which is good. When you get to Davian space, when you ally with them, check their stores. They should be swimming in Warhammer parts.
Commander.
Yeah, I need to jump back out of Merrick space and head back over to... Actually, I think I'm still in Davian space at the moment, but I need to get one of their...
On my
Get
way.
to their core worlds where their manufacturing is at the moment, because I'm pretty close with them. We've been working on Davian for a while now, so I might be able to just straight up buy
Roger.
something. Although I'm still kind of a little short money-wise for that. But yeah, that is a good option. I should take a look at that. Clans enhance vision, flashbacks of the first Somerset Strikers, and 90 CGI. Yeah, information as ammunition. Yes, honestly, my stronger memory of that, MechWarrior 2. Clan mechs had enhanced vision mode, and what it essentially did is it dropped all the textures out and turned the entire game into a wireframe, which sounds bad until you consider the wireframes. Anything that was undamaged was green, and then as you damage specific parts of the mechs, they would change colour all the way through red until eventually they fell off or were destroyed, and that would take out the mech. which is pretty impressive when you're talking 1993 and you've got progressive damage on specific components on a target inside of a game. You know, when most games had a health bar for a target, and that was it. So yeah, my memories of enhanced vision always come from MechWarrior 2. And you would spend most of the time in enhanced vision mode just because it made it easier to spot new targets and easier to pick out the specific components you needed to eliminate. In fact, I think MechWarrior 2 might have been the first game I ever played that had like associated damage to specific components on a target. I don't think I'd ever seen that in any other game before. The Crusader would be nice. We'll make the walk over to there, get into the tree line, pop a couple of shots off on the Javelin, and then in the next round we should be close enough to be able to leapfrog the Javelin and rip it apart from behind. Now that's awesome, very late to the BattleTech franchise, only came back during the Modern Renaissance. Must have a look at some of the... Jump on Google now and just search MechWarrior 2 Enhanced Vision. MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 2 Enhanced Vision. The graphics are very... Well, they were actually really impressive considering we're talking, as I said, 1992, 1993, 1994. I forget the exact years. Pretty sure it was 1993. Impressive for the time, but it is pre-3D accelerator. And look at the enhanced vision mode against it and realize you can just press a button and switch between these two visual modes. The enhanced vision mode makes the game look like something from the 80s. But you should, most of the screenshots, you should be able to see the different colors associated with different mech components. It doesn't go down to specific components, so it's like an arm versus the torso versus the other arm. I think the torsos on some of the mechs were divided into multiple components as well. Then each leg obviously had their own, and the head was an independent component as well that you could hit, and it would go through color modes on it. It's very basic in comparison to what you would expect now. But this was pretty trippy stuff back in the day. And it worked. Perfectly worked within the game. MechWarrior 2 was... Like, the more I think about it, the more it was just a masterpiece for the technology of the time. Considering this was pre-3D acceleration. Like, 3D accelerator cards, if they were a thing, they were not a commercially viable product for a consumer at that time. And I'm pretty sure they weren't a thing at all. Right, so we are going to... Actually, no, we will not. We will put 2 in, and that will be sufficient. That should delete the Javelin.
Enemy mech, critical damage.
Well, it didn't, but the pilot ejected, so that's fine. Sorry, typing on a phone. My typing sucks. Don't worry about it, man. My typing on phones are terrible as well.
Yes, Commander.
I hate every time I got to message people on Discord while using a mobile phone. It drives me up the wall, but I do it anyway. Alright, let's get from where we are, we're in no cover, to... Let's stay on this side. Should just make sure that's clear. Yes, we are in the tree line. Cool, that's what I want. And let's roll the dice. Precision shot on the head, breaching shot with a PPC. 98% chance we're going to miss. But let's see what happens. No, we missed. Alright, Stinger is going to be the next target for the lead spitter. Start ripping it apart. Although, it's only got 2 evasion pips on that at the moment. Silly, silly, silly. What are you doing? That's going to make you too easy to pull apart. MechWarrior 2 had 3DFX support, not on initial release, I don't think.
Light damage, Commander.
The initial release was DOS. No 3DFX support whatsoever. I think there was a patch that gave it 3DFX support later, but I never played that version. The version that I had no 3DFX support on MechWarrior 2, so that could be something that came later on. I'm pretty sure that's something that came later on.
Standing by.
3DFX support in like 92, 93.
I'm there.
I'll take your word about it. You're better with tech than I am, Dead Meat, but yeah, I'm kind of not so sure.
All weapons are go. Bet that hurt.
My mech's coming apart around me.
I take it back. It is, you're right. It is 1995. I really know. No, that can't be right. You know, MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries was 1996. That is a shitload later. I know MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries had 3DFX support. Right, Crusader. Right. Anyways, I need to focus on this for a split second.
Ready for orders.
Awaiting orders.
BEX.
Yes, Commander.
Alright, so the Vindicator I don't care about. What is going to be the best way to get you out of your mech? Tango needs to cool down anyway, so we can probably do a melee attack to the rear of the Stinger.
Roger that.
That'll cool it down.
Locked on for physical attack.
Gets the Stinger out of play, which works nicely. Alright.
Target eliminated.
Yes, Commander.
Right. Griffin. The hit to the rear. We've got the SRMs we haven't used yet. I want to keep you here so we're not getting too close to the... not getting within line of sight of the Vindy, because the Vindy is going to try and shoot us with a PPC. So keep that one back. Shot against the Crusader, and with everything on, you have to start trying to peel some of this thing's armor. And miss with the PPC, god damn it. Right. Now, where's chat so I can actually read the rest of everything else that was going on? It was one of the first games I saw besides GI Quake that I saw running on a 3DFX card. Alright, I will stand corrected. I thought I was playing that before TIE Fighter, and TIE Fighter was earlier than that. Well, there you have it. Alpha Strike on the front of the Crusader to peel its armor.
All weapons committed.
I've been sensor locked.
And what are we sorting out here, my tech lads? Oh, we're just trying to work out, well, I'm getting corrected on the release year for MechWarrior 2. I thought MechWarrior 2 was before that. So there was MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. Mercenaries I knew had 3D support. But I thought Mercenaries was 95 as well, not 96.
Reading you.
That was a fantastic game too, I might add. MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries was awesome.
Order acknowledged.
It's almost the MechWarrior game that time forgot.
Firing all weapons.
Alright, now we just got to
Reporting
convince
critical
you.
hit.
The ammo there. We're only going to get one part out of you. We do have enough for a precision
Confirmed.
shot now, though. Although, we should probably save that for Claymore. Oh. Something's blocking line of sight there. I should probably check that. Alright, Lead Spitter's going to have to get onto the Vindicator next round. We're going to use Claymore next round in the Archer. Because he's got a 5% because he's gunnery bonus to go for the headshot on the Crusader. See if we can convince that pilot to exit that mech. I don't want to give you my back though. Nah, that's fine. We'll bring the 6-pack around the side here and get it to start tanking the Vindicator.
Firing on target.
Ooh, okay, we've got the back of the Griffin exposed. I need to bring that back in. I don't want that getting hit. That's turrets from the base. And Mag's realizing he's actually younger than he feels. This is not possible. And I was wrong. MechWarrior 2 Mercs had support on release. MechWarrior 2 is a patch, as you remembered. I thought so. Aha, I wasn't remembering wrong. You had me sitting here going, fuck. Did I just miss something when I was a kid? With all the hours that I put... Did I just somehow blatantly miss something that big? No, I didn't. You bastard. You had me second-guessing myself. Yes, because MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries were on the same engine. So when MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries got its 3D, or it was 3D FX support, Windows 95 only, that would have been ported back to MechWarrior 2 as well. You're a bastard, dead meat. Making me second guess myself. Alright, spin the Archer. Alright, 5%, go for the head. Let's pop one medium laser so we don't overheat. And let's hope we take the head off this thing.
Engaging target. Enemy mech.
Not
destroyed.
quite what I had in mind, but that does work. Yeah, TIE Fighter was 1994.
Light
Yeah.
damage. Holding firm.
Man, you're old when you say MechWarrior 2. First thing I've thought was Modern Warfare 2, taking into account games that are old to me. Yes, Fox. I will be 40 next year. 6 months. 6 months. I will be 40.
Yes, Commander.
I'm not quite decrepit, but I'm getting there, okay? Alright, so let's do the jump to rear on the
Engaging
Vindicator.
subject.
And let's
10-4.
rip its rear armor open. And the good part is popping the Crusader like that as well means that the
Good.
base turrets will
Critical
lose
hit.
target on the Royal Griffin, so I don't need to worry about it getting crippled anymore.
Commander,
We will still bring it around the corner though.
copy that.
Alright, let's pull... Actually, no, let's just leave everything in. We'll cycle the whole lot. This thing's got so much
Roger
cooling
that.
that it's not funny for the amount of weapons it's got. We'll just pound this Vindy into the ground.
Damage minimal.
Mech Warrior 2 Mercs was DOS as well. I only ever played it on Windows 95.
What's up, boss? Copy that. Firing full complement on enemy.
3DFX Glide was some weird upscaling or something like Direct Draw 2D into 3... Yeah. Christ, I feel old. I remember being blown away by Modern Warfare 1. My first ever paycheck was on a console to play it.
Armor breach. Internal
You're a
damage.
bloody youngster. Look, I'm getting there, Somerset. I am catching up, alright? We must have a celebration stream for the nearing of ages of decryptitude. I generally do try and do a stream around my birthday as well. So I will most certainly try and do one this year, but it will depend on what is going on with the family. I have told my parents not to do anything, but they're determined to come back from their yearly escape the cold in southern Australia and head for the tropics trip and come back and actually have a celebration. I've kind of told them I don't want one, but they're not listening. So there might be some other stuff on. God knows what they're planning. Yeah, between the family and the missus,
Critical damage detected.
I have no idea. But I'll either have something before or after or during. We'll work it out somewhere. I've got a lot of streaming to catch up on. I've missed 4 months of this. This campaign's supposed to be a hell of a lot further through than we're actually at. Windows 95 is DOS with a fancy GUI. Yeah, it is, but yeah.
I'm here.
No, 3DFX Glide was an API for 3DX Voodoo chips to tell the games how to talk to the 3D card. I remember playing Omicron Trail on an Apple II. I actually remember playing Oregon Trail as well. On an Apple... It was an Apple II something. Green-only screen, little integrated box drive. We used to have them at schools. That and another game I remember from when I was in primary school that they used as a learning tool. It was actually one of the first... Well, it might have been actually, for the time, it was probably one of the first times a computer was used for a learning tool in a primary school. This was in the 90s. There's a game called... It was a text-based adventure called Kraken, where you had to try and solve a mystery to... Well, capture a giant squid on camera, basically. Which was... The more I think about it going back then, it was an interesting concept for the time. Alright, I do not want the lead spitter to be out in front of all of those turrets, and we have reserve mechs coming in. Okay. I will jump out of there, back over here to get my 4 evasion pips up, and we will just mag dump the side of this Vindicator. Something will explode.
Destroyed.
Something exploded, that's fine. I'm 48, so I'm older than Mags. Holy crap, man. Yep. Yeah, it looks like you're beating me by 9 years if you're 48.
Standing by.
Oh, I haven't logged on to War Thunder in 4 months, so we're both getting there. Yeah, funnily enough, I haven't played it much either. I've actually got, during when I was still unable to talk, and I was annoyed. I did actually do a whole bunch of flying, and so I've got a whole bunch of video stuff racked up for War Thunder for various aircraft, but I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet. Because I ground out the Tomcat as well.
Moving to position.
Honestly, against a Stinger, it's probably better to go for the standard laser turret.
Target locked.
Yeah, next volley will take that out. We'll get rid of some of the defensive guns. And it's a Phoenix Hawk. Because there's always a Phoenix Hawk.
They're blowing through my armor.
Receiving you.
Alright, get the 6-pack around the corner.
On the move.
And we'll go for the light turret as well. We'll pull just the SRM4 out, and that should be enough to take down the standard light. There it goes. Cool. That's one of the turrets out of play.
One less turret.
It's not splitting hairs, it's being technically correct, the best kind of correct. Point being, your 3DFX card was pretty useless if it wasn't running Glide compatible applications because of how Glide rendered. Yeah. Just put up video footage with Down With The Sickness playing in the background. I like not having copyright strikes. Also, it's not, what, 2009, 2008? Also, did everybody watch the B-21 Raider reveal today? Or this morning?
Engaging target.
It is a interesting looking piece of kit. I also found it amusing that they didn't make the same mistake they made back in 1988 and actually pull it completely out of the hangar. And they made sure nobody could see it from any other angle than the front. They really didn't want anybody to have a look at the rear of it.
Yes, Commander.
And its first official flights are not supposed to start until 2023, and I'm willing to bet they're going to make sure those flights are at night and they are unlisted so nobody can get a shot of the back end of that thing.
Lifting off.
Let's get rid of the Stinger.
All weapons are go.
Okay, we did not get rid of the Stinger. That's not what we were after.
I'm taking
Saw it via
internal
Discord. Which one would that be, Mags? The new B-21 Raider. The new American replacement for the B-2 Stealth Bomber and the B-1 Lancer. They finally pulled the cover off it, quite literally, this morning.
Armor breach. Internal damage.
Wonder if it was a reply to the Russian Cobalt bomb drone leak? No. This has been planned for a while,
Commander?
and if you've ever seen shots of the original unveiling of the B-2 Spirit, it was a modern recreation of that. Same location, same hangar. It was exactly the same hangar that they rolled the B-2 Spirit out of. It was the same, almost the same setup for the crowd, only in 1988, the way they had the crowd organized around the B-2 Spirit was so that military officials were on the right-hand side of the aircraft. They got a side profile of what the aircraft looked like. the general public that was admitted to be able to view the aircraft and the press were all set at a distance and only saw the nose of the aircraft. The idea was nobody was supposed to see the rear of the plane. The rear of the plane was still classified. But somebody in a sneaky Cessna with a camera actually overflew the area and got a shot from altitude of the rear of the aircraft and sort of got it out into the public. But nobody was supposed to see the back end of how the plane was actually designed. And they clearly don't want anyone to have a look at the back of the new aircraft either. As you'll notice, when they had the shots back on the crowd, everybody was set in an arc at of about 90 degrees to the front of the aircraft. That's all of the cameras and everybody that was there to see it. Absolutely no one was down the left or right hand sides. Nobody could see the rear, and even when they pulled it forward, they only pulled it forward to the point where the tip of the nose was starting to come out of the hangar. The entire rear of the aircraft was still inside of the hangar, so no overflying aircraft, no drones, and no satellites would have been able to get a look at what the back end of the aircraft was designed like. That was very deliberate. All of that positioning was deliberate. Nobody can get a side profile of the plane, nobody can get above shot of the plane, and nobody can see its back end, because that's all the pieces you need to work out the exact scale and size of the aircraft and to work out how it's working the back end of the plane. We have no idea what that thing's control surfaces are or exactly how it's actually venting its engines, because we can't see it. They're not making the mistakes they made back in the day. I'm pulling the Griffin into cover because it is getting a pounding at the moment, so it can stop getting shot at for a little bit.
Standing by.
Jump jets, DFA. I try not to do that when I've still got obvious targets coming in. We've got a trebuchet and another unknown mech clearing the area, because you will do leg damage, and I'm not looking to break the mech just yet. We can't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to back the 6-pack off as well and shut it down, because we can't do a melee strike to continue the push through. I'm going to have to pull everyone back to this rock and get these guys to come out a little bit further. Claymore needs to get back into cover 2. Get all of them to come to me. Everybody else can get under the ECM shield and have a shutdown for a moment. And I will make Beach Ball jump into the pack and then shut down 2. Well, shut down brace.
Affirmative.
Pull everybody off and make the enemy come to me for a little bit.
Damage minimal.
Dark Forces 2. Oh, Jedi Knight. That's another game I haven't played in ages. Although that was a really ragged one. I was never actually fond of Dark Forces 2. I loved the original Dark Forces, which was essentially a Doom clone with a little bit of the ability to look up and down. I loved that game. The follow-ons from Dark Forces into Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy were amazing on Quake 3 engine. But Dark Forces 2 was really jank, how they did the graphics for that. That's a game that had a good story, but it had the live action FMVs, which were, yeah, they're a bit camp. They're a bit, they were very 90s. But there is some nostalgia to them. But the graphics were pretty average. That's a game that should be considered for a remaster. That game rebuilt with a modern engine and modern graphics would actually be really good. And do it justice for what they had in mind. Alright, I'm going to wait around and see if I can get that Phoenix Hawk to come over here so we can blow it up directly. No, we're just going to wait.
Stabilizing. Engaging coolant system.
Don't tell me they're just going to sit there. We're having a reserve off with the enemy at the moment. The bloody AI is just going to reserve over and over again. Although, this could be nasty. If I limit my movement... Keep it left. The Phoenix Hawk only has one evasion pip at the moment. Go for a breaching shot. Yeah, we got the points for it.
We'll go.
And we miss anyway. We hit right instead of center. I was hoping we could hit the center torso, potentially core out the front armor. There we go. We got the Phoenix Hawk to come in. Alright. I don't like the fact that the Royal Griffin's getting beaten on, but... Much front. Yeah, you got plenty. Everything on. Oof. That's a lot of missiles. Alright.
Damage minimal.
Gotta get the Griffin back into cover. That's fine. Everybody else can be out in the line of fire. SRM4 on. Alpha Strike on the Phoenix Hawk as well.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
We want to. It's only a Phoenix Hawk and it's just been hit Alpha Strike by 3 mechs. Yeah.
Internal structure damage.
Yeah, I gotta get that thing out of line of sight. Alright, jump. I get 4 evasion pips to there. It puts me at the front of the firing line, but that's okay. 4 evasion should be good. Need to... How the fuck does this Phoenix Hawk still have full armor in the center torso after 3 Alpha Strikes in a row? How does that happen? We'll correct it.
Copy that. Reporting critical.
4 Alpha Strikes in a row and it hasn't lost a limb yet. See, this is why I hate Phoenix Hawks in this game. They take ridiculous amounts of damage.
Reading you.
Like somebody in the development of BattleTech was a complete fucking weeb. They really were. It's the only explanation.
Scored a critical hit.
That's 5.
Yes, Commander.
And get the Griffin back into cover or out of line of sight with everybody else.
Taking the shot. Reporting
6 Alpha
hit.
Strikes. Pilot is still in it. Mech is not destroyed. Still combat capable.
minimal.
Yes, Commander.
Survives a melee attack. And finally goes down.
Target neutralized.
God, they're just... Oh, I can't stand them. Yeah, they are definitely the answer to mechs I don't like. Alright, we will brace the archer and see if we can get the rest of them to come down.
Warning.
Atmos.
Enemy sensor lock detected.
Saul, don't know if you guys knew that the B1 was also known as the Bone, i.e. B1. Yeah, I watch Fat Electrician as well. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but I do watch Fat Electrician.
Damage.
This is turning out to be a significantly more difficult mission than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting an extra 250 tons of mechs to come in. Alright, Vindy, Trebuchet, and the Stinger, plus the base defences. That's alright, we can work with
Commander.
that. Alright, so we need to get rid of that scout for a start, so
Copy that.
jump over. Precision strike on the Stinger, targeting center torso.
4, an alpha strike. Reporting critical hit.
Because that's their scout, we take that out of play, and that's likely the mech that just did the sensor lock. Now, I'm going to move the Griffin just back a notch. Target Stinger, we're going to pull the SRMs out of play and just strike with the PPC. Breaching shot, single shot on target.
Engaging target.
Damn it, I was hoping that would pop the center
Target's taking
torso.
a critical hit.
Why are they hiding the rear of the B-21? Are they hiding the engine or something? The rear section of the aircraft, first it shows how the controls, if you can get a good look... I should probably go back to the start. There's a couple of reasons, Happy Wombat. If you can see the side, rear, and profile of the aircraft, you can actually get an estimate of its size. At the moment, we don't actually know how big the B-21 Raider is. I've looked at it a bit, a few others have, and everybody's looking at it. It's probably smaller in total size. It's supposed to have a slightly smaller payload, but it's supposed to have a longer range, so its internal volume has to be different in order to allow for that kind of a fuel load. But nobody gets a good look at of exactly what it looks like in terms of size. Also, the back end of the aircraft relates a lot to its stealth. That's where the engines exit. So if you can see what the engines look like and how they're fitted in, you start getting an idea on how they're dealing with the thermal signature. The B1 or the B2 actually has thermal reduction designed into it to make it harder for IR missiles to be able to track it. Well, the B-21 obviously has to have an improved version of this. It's part of its stealth package. It's not just radar. It's got to hide its thermal signature as well. Well, how it does that will be related to how it's actually venting the heat of its engines and its thrust out in order to control that. So you don't want anybody getting a really good look at those engines. And you don't want anybody getting a good overall look at the profile either, because we live in a time at the moment where we have a lot of advanced computing. Even back in 1988, getting a good look at the profile on the B2, that as early as they did via the aerial photo that got out and a couple of things that leaked, started letting foreign nations start essentially doing computer simulations on exactly how the B2 would function under their radar. The more of this information you can hide, if you can't see exactly how big the aircraft is and you can't scale it correctly, and you'll notice if you look at the shots from the release today, there wasn't a lot to scale it against. The way people moved around it and how far they had things away from it made it very difficult to actually scale it. If you don't know how big it is, you can't build an accurate model in terms of size. If you can't see the side, the top-down profile or the rear profile of it, you can't build a complete 3D image of it. If you can't build a 3D image of it, you can't start simulating how it's going to deal with stealth, how different radars will start reflecting off of it, before you start even counting into the materials it's made of and its coatings. So the more of the critical aspects of the aircraft they can hide, the harder it is for anybody who might want to work out how to shoot one of these things down, the harder it is for them to start theory crafting how to do that. Which is why they'll do the flights of it at night as well, because at night time you won't be able to get a clear image of the aircraft. The aircraft looked like it was painted in standard Air Force grey in that hangar. It looked almost white with the lighting, but it was probably just a standard Air Force grey. I would bet you $10 it'll be painted midnight black when they actually start flying it at night. It'll be painted a colour that is designed to blend into the sky and make it as hard as possible to work out the angles and the shapes of the aircraft, even if somebody happens to get a photo of it flying. And the first test flights for it will probably be high altitude as well, because then it's harder for people to get a clear focus on it as well. And that's just, yeah, the more information you can hide, the harder it is to model it. The harder it is to model it, the longer it will take various nations to start trying to work out how to kill it. The second you've got a good look at the aircraft, and you can see the angles, and you can scale it correctly, you can model it and start really testing it. Alright, let's brace that one around there. Jedi Knight is the best, worst game. The lightsaber combat is still the best. Crash constantly on me. I didn't really have any problems with crashing. It was just... I didn't, even back in the day, I didn't like the way it looked graphically. It looked wrong. It just, I didn't like that particular era of 3D graphics. It didn't work. The art style just didn't work. Right, Vindicator, Stinger. Yeah, we can probably take the bounce with the Archer. The Stinger needs to go. Though, we are down to... Yeah, we've nearly lost all the armor as well. I probably don't want to expose to the trebuchet until... Yeah, let's go to there. Let's not expose ourselves to the trebuchet until we're ready to turn around the corner and just lay waste to it. We don't want to waste too much here. Let's pull 2... Yeah, that pulls the heat back enough. Just 2 of the LRM-6s out, and we'll just dump with the rest. That, yeah, engine destroyed. Okay, that's enough. Gets the scout out of play.
Damage crit. I'm here.
Alright, so lead spitter. We're going to do a rear melee attack, although that's only going to give us... Oh, that's riskier than I would like. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We are absolutely not going to do that. That would be my preference, but we are instead going to... Yeah, we'll jump 4. Because we're going to be within direct line of sight of 2 of the base cannons. I don't want to be low on evasion pips that close, but I absolutely want to get a rear shot into this Vindicator. Straight into the lower back armor. Come on, pop something. Nah, too many misses.
Scored. A critical hit.
Aye, aye.
Alright, looks like we're going at this now. What is the best way? Alright, present left as much as possible, although that is going to expose that leg. Yeah, this is the problem. Although, if we move back to there, that keeps me in cover of everything. Okay, that works. We'll do that. I know the Royal Griffin's going to be the primary target here, and I don't want it to be.
Enemy sensor lock detected.
Position confirmed.
Alright. 6-pack in, rear shots on the trebuchet.
Confirmed.
And Claymore out to the tree line. Everything on.
All weapons committed.
Base defenses. Now we're going to jump with the lead spitter next round and jump it in behind the trebuchet. Assuming it survives. That was a lot of missiles. I'm glad I took that evasion pip after all.
Yes, Commander.
Yeah, we need to get the hell out of here as quickly as possible, I think.
Affirmative.
They're blowing through my armor. Awaiting orders.
Right.
Moving out.
Standard attack, trebuchet, SRM6 is on this time. Vindy's coming in. Yeah, and they're both going for the Royal Griffin, because, yep, of course
I'm taking internal damage.
Receiving you.
Alright, well, if it's going to be like that, that's going to be a little far out. Not going to have me in cover, unfortunately, but we will take that as an option, just so we can get the rear angle on the trebuchet, and I'm just going to keep pounding this thing's rear armor. And then we can just focus on the Vindy, and then that is going to be it, except the base defenses. We'll pull that medium laser out of the cycle.
Targeting rear armor.
There we go. Alright, trebuchet is out of play.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Cool, now I can actually catch back up on chat.
Took a hard hit there.
I wonder why mod makers allowed so many Phoenix Hawks. Weren't they down to several hundred or so active ones by the time period? Well, yeah, but we're in the space where they were active. That's the thing. If you go to different sections of space, you will start encountering different mechs, depending on where you are. At the moment, we're operating around the Davian, Capellan, Marek border. That's where we've been operating on most of the campaign. And that's an area where Phoenix Hawks were relatively common. And so that's where we're running into a lot of Phoenix Hawks.
Move order received.
Actually, I should have probably... it's fine. Let's put some meat lasers and start hitting that shredder turret. Providing the meads are focused.
They've got a sensor lock
So yeah,
on
part of the reason why we're encountering so many Phoenix Hawks, why there's always one every mission, is where we are in space. If we were to pack up our shit and head all the way north up into Steiner space or around Steiner, Draconis Compine, playing that particular area, Corrida border, we would start encountering less Phoenix Hawks and would start countering, I think, more Blackjacks up that end of the world. As I recall, I think Corrida had a lot of Blackjacks. Which we barely see at all down here.
Copy that.
Orders?
So that's at least part of it.
On the move.
It's more of an artifact of... Let's pull... Actually, we keep one of the SRM6s in. Cool. Yeah, more of an artifact of having different mechs show up in different places, which wasn't part of the basic game.
got a lock on
At least
me.
not too much. Alright, we are just about to melt down, so I'm going to go melee with the archer. Just to cool it off a touch.
Engaging physical attack.
And we just ninja kick off
Enemy
the left arm.
critical damage detected.
I love how that massive side step kick, snap kick out of the archer is one of its possible melee attacks. Okay, maybe stepping around the corner and trying to snipe with the medium lasers wasn't a great idea.
My mech is coming apart around me.
Yeah, let's see if we can
I'm
adjust
here.
that.
Location confirmed.
Probably go back here. Engine shielding crit.
Reporting critical hit.
Commander?
Alright, I'm actually going to go melee with
On
the
the
Vindy.
Let's see how you like this.
And that was enough to get the pilot to bail out. Okay. That's an almost intact Vindicator.
Waiting for orders.
We hadn't, outside of the arm, we hadn't blown off any parts of that, so that's interesting. We might be able to recover some of that. Alright, so now we're going to get through the base defenses. Now, the 6-pack has taken almost no damage, so we can make a run for the tree line over here and just let it cool down. We can do... Yeah, we might do exactly the same thing with the Archer, actually. They can take a couple of rounds. I wonder how many battle mechs were being built in the Inner Sphere from the first mechs to the Fourth Succession War. There were quite a few mechs that were being built in terms of number. The mech plants that survived the Succession Wars basically never shut down, and of all of the manufacturing infrastructure that still existed, they were the ones that never had funding cut, ever. They were always supplied, they were always funded, and they were always working. What was lost was a lot of the variants. So there was a lot of mechs produced in number, but only of specific types of chassis that were dedicated. So Warhammers remained in production in Davian space. God, what were the ones? I'm trying to remember all the key mechs. There is a handful of types that never went out of production, but there was only the handful. Everything else is salvaged based on recovered parts, that kind of thing. And I think I may have actually done a stupid then. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I just did a stupid... Uh-oh. This could be bad.
Target locked.
Standing by.
Alright, this Griffin... Present left. And go for a PPC shot against the Shredder turret.
Firing on target.
And I should be able to keep the Griffin on this back line at the moment and use it as an artillery piece to just breaching shot
Commander.
everything. Although, maybe not. Maybe they'll shoot
Confirmed.
the larger mechs that are incoming and that are closer. Right, Shredder turret eliminated.
One less turret. Barely hit, Commander.
There's always a Phoenix Hawk, it's the law, or at least it is in this playthrough. And we can't leave this area just yet, because we do have a couple of flashpoints that need to be done. Like, we're still doing the ones that lead up to a fairly unique mech that would be very appropriate for this particular playthrough, considering who we're supposed to be playing. I'll leave it at that. I think anybody who's played this might know the mech that I'm referring to. Which is a pretty cool design, even if it doesn't make complete sense in the lore. It's very, very loose in the lore.
Warning.
How comes the bass guitar searching? Honestly, over the last couple of months,
Yes,
I have been
Commander.
that sidetracked that I haven't looked at all. Everything got put on pause. I said I've had a couple of days in hospital.
Location confirmed.
I've been doing physio. Yeah, I haven't really...
Taking the shot.
Well, at least one of them hit and took it down.
Target
Yeah.
destroyed.
It's still on my list of things that I would like to pick up and have a play
Awaiting
around with. I
orders.
just, yeah. There has been a lot of money going places that I wasn't anticipating it having to go, and there's been a lot of downtime, and that lot of downtime means that I haven't
Copy
been
that.
working a lot, so I haven't been replacing that money. That is the only turret that remains.
Taking the shot.
Enemy structure is weakened. Enemy structure eliminated.
Okay, one
Target.
down.
Receiving you.
Now, I do want to... We could just go straight for the building, but I want to get up
Moving
here and
up.
actually pop this Shredder turret.
I copy.
There we go. Cool. Now we can pop the building freely, and
destroyed.
we'll get all of the salvage options on the table. Finally. That was a lot longer than I expected. 18 rounds.
Engaging target.
Leopard inbound, Commander. I'll meet you at the LZ.
And that should be... Yep, area being cleared. Everything's destroyed. That was a lot longer than I was expecting. I know the clans never had the numbers to take the inner sphere, but I like how many battle mechs were in IS operation by 3027, maybe 100,000? Well, it depends on the spread. So it's not just, you know, you're looking at how many did the Great Houses have, how many did the Pirates have, how many did independent contractors have. Combined was probably more than that. Clans, surprisingly, I would disagree with that. The clans did have the numbers to take the inner sphere. Pretty easily as well. If they used their mechs properly. It wasn't numbers that caused the clans to fail. It was the way their ideology functioned. They lost before they started the invasion. Because the clans were all about controlled honor jewels, not wasting resources. essentially, what would be the best way to describe this? The way clan military doctrine had developed, every battle wasn't... They didn't know how to fight a war. They knew how to fight a tournament. Every clan engagement was a tournament. Both sides would bid the amount of mechs that they would deploy. The side that bid the least amount would gain the highest amount of prestige amongst all of the clans as a total, and then they would do their battle for the prize of the planet or whatever they happen to be fighting over, and whoever lost would automatically agree to those rules. So even if it makes no sense in terms of numbers for you to surrender a planet, if you bid a planet and you lost, well, you would give the planet to the enemy. That was just the way it happened. And so the clans rolled in with that mindset and a couple of 100 years of that mindset with a bunch of warriors that were trained to be the pinnacle of tournament fighters in the world. Essentially a giant collection of peak-level Solaris mech warriors. And then they showed up in the inner sphere who had just spent, a couple of 100 years doing some of the dirtiest, nastiest, actual full-on warfare that one could imagine, to the point of genocide in some areas. They were not set up to be able... They had the technological advantage, they had the numbers, they had everything that they needed, but they were not in a state to be able to actually fight that war. And that's how they lost. They lost because they continually got their ass kicked every single time they actually faced actual warfare. They didn't understand it. Alright. Well, I am taking the Crusade apart because I already have 2. So that's a 65-ton piece, so that'll get me up to 3, and I still need 1 more, but we're getting there. We are getting there. 2, 1... You know what, I'm going to take the Phoenix Hawk part and I'm going to sell it. Alright, we've got 2 parts Stinger, we've got the Vindicator piece, which brings us up to 3. We got 2 Vindicator parts. Alright, we just recovered 2 Vindicator out of that as well. So we've got a couple of mechs to sell. So we've just paid that mission for as long as it went. We just paid for next month's, this month's operational expenditures. So now we can sort of relax and pick where we're going to be going next. Alright. And we're going to sell the Phoenix Hawk because we've already got 1 in stock. So there's 400,000. And we're going to build the Vindicator 1R. 389,000. We're going to sell it as well. 4.9 million. Alright, that wasn't bad. We're going to have to do some repairs. Looks like the lead spitter lost a jump jet, which isn't too bad. Alright, all repaired. Equipment. Jump jet small. And actually, while we're at it, we will pull that MG out. And we'll put the single plus in. So plus 25% crit bonus on MGs. Alright, we will do that. So 9 grand 2 days.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
And the Griffin is going to need a refit as well. We didn't actually... Okay, no, we didn't lose any components on it. X2 ECM equipment, Endo Steel... Can we do any upgrades? I don't like the fact that we've got SRMMO in the chest, but we kind of don't have anywhere else to put it. I mean, I suppose I could put it in the arm, but... Yeah, nothing really I can switch out there. Do I have anything in the way? No, we've still got the snub and we've got the SLDF PPCs. But although... no, we'll keep that. Confirm. 2 days, 25 grand. A little bit more expensive to fix, and everything else was fine. So that gets us all done there. last bit we need to do is go through our mech warriors and see exactly how their training is going.
Standing by.
No points on
will be
Apex. We can do 5 tactics on Archangel, which I might actually do because that gets the range
Training
penalty out,
confirmed,
which
Commander.
will be useful.
Reading you.
Beach ball. No, we're holding off. Yeah, the recoil penalty doesn't matter enough, and I want the second point bonus, so we
heal.
sit there. Claymore, I'm after breaching shot. So we don't have the points for that yet
Commander?
either.
Skipper.
Phantom's after the piloting
Ready for
bonus as
orders.
well. Tango we can actually spend some points on. So Tango, I think I was going... We'll take gunnery because it's more useful for the moment. Actually, we can take 2. So we'll take points in both. But I'm pretty sure Tango I was taking up and I was going for the piloting bonus for Evasive Expert while having multi-targeting capability. Tango is going to be my harasser pilot. Claymore I'm building into a defense sniper for an assault mech, something like a Ultra AC-20, something big that I can run the breaching shot on. Phantom's going to be scout.
Yes, Dr. Farad. I'll handle it.
Yeah, and Archangel's already got the heat drop, so he's the beamboat driver. Oh, cancel. We can confirm that.
Mech warrior training complete.
Cool. Alright, well it is 3 in the morning, so I'm going to bring this one to a close, but we will quickly go through the rest of chat, because I am a little bit behind. I've been trying to keep up, but it's hard to read and play at the same time. I know the clans have had the numbers, yeah, did that. How Insphere targeting systems, base guitar. The Phoenix Hawk is like the AK. They made a crap ton scattered across the inner sphere, and there's always one nearby. It does feel that way. I think the easiest way to describe it would be by clan invasion you probably had combining house forces of mercs, a couple of old Star League corps. Phoenix Hawks are basically a slower Jenner as far as I treat them. Oh no, they're significantly worse than that. Bear in mind the Star League would commit 4 6-inch core to a campaign, each subjugating the Ministry of Cannabis. Yep. And there are also Star League weapons caches scattered throughout, only ones of former Hedron. Yeah, this is part of the reason why it's hard to track the number of mechs that are available at any given time in the Inner Sphere. The Star League had weapons caches, which included huge numbers of mechs hidden throughout the Inner Sphere. Now, sometimes these are found, but it's not always advertised when they're found. People often don't declare it. So you get influxes of mechs the whole way through the period between the fall of the Star League and the arrival of the clans, and even after, where Star League level mechs start showing up in bulk out of the blue. Like, you'll suddenly get a pirate that has a whole bunch of Star League level mechs. They can't maintain them, and they usually get broken and slowly shattered over time. But these are... like, these do come about. So it's a question of how many mechs survived and how many have been rediscovered, along with how many have been built. And tracking the number is near impossible. This is actually how the Wolf Dragoons... the Wolf's Dragoons showed up in the Inner Sphere. Remembering, for those who are not familiar with the war, the mercenary faction, the Wolf's Dragoons, are actually a recon scout lance that was sent in from the clans. And in order to try and cover up the fact that they were clanners, they weren't given any clan-dedicated equipment. They got refits and old Star League era mechs they had around, which meant when the Wolf's Dragoons actually showed up in the Inner Sphere, they were one of the most well-equipped and advanced equipped mercenary forces out. They kind of stood out. But the assumption that the Innisphere had, it was odd that a mercenary company should be so well equipped with mechs that hadn't been seen functional in the Innisphere for decades, if not a century. But it was just assumed that they must have come across a Star League weapons cache, not mentioned it to anybody, and this is how they got all their equipment. So it was odd, but it wasn't unusual because it had been seen before. And of course, when the questions were asked about it, that's exactly what they admitted to. You know, they just had them, or didn't admit to it, and the assumption was made. So tracking the number of mechs that are actually operational would be basically impossible, because you would need to know how many caches had been found, and nobody knows how many caches the Star League actually had. If only managed to catch me live streaming. I hope you've been here for a little while, dude. You haven't, because I'm just about to bring it to a close. It is getting very late on this end. So one SLDF core is about 1,244 mechs with inventory support and aerospace assets. Say 1 or 2 core per house. Play 3 throw-in SLDF caches. Looking to mow mid 5 digits. Yeah, could be more. Most Merc companies were 1 lance, maybe 2. Only a few were 3+. Calhounds being one of the biggest. Grey Death Legion were roughly 2 and a bit lances. Nah, there was more than that. Grey Death Legion had more than 2 lances. By the way, has anyone figured out what the different target line colours in BEX signify? It's position related to armour. So your green lines are direct lines to the rear. Blue lines signify the red to the front, blue signify side, I think, and green to rear. So it gives you a visual representation of where you are in relation to the target. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, red front, blue sides, green back, purple obstructed. Yeah, that's the ones. Yeah, not all caches were found. I know Majesty Metals were producing 3 to 4 Shadowhawks a year, whilst the Capellans were churning out near double that, and Vindicators. Yeah, there's that going on. And that's the other thing to consider too. There were entire worlds that were essentially wiped out in the Succession Wars that had mech wreckage on them. And there are scavengers who dive some of those worlds. Some of them are irradiated, that do dive those worlds and recover mechs and recover mech parts. It's a hazardous job, but they do it anyway, because there's a lot of money to be had in it if you can get it out, as well as other equipment as well. So how much of that salvage has gone back into the market and been used to rebuild mechs as well? Like, there is a lot. After the Second Succession War, people kind of coped on destroying factories and killing everyone who knew how to work them was a bad idea. Well, there was that. That was part of it. There was also the part where Comstar kind of said, can you please stop destroying all of our industrial infrastructure, and if you don't, we're going to turn off your internet. Which is kind of a big problem when everybody's using the internet to actually communicate and organise your wars. Like, they're not afraid of holding that over people. Something stupid like 5 battalions, 180-ish mechs, and they thought there was at a small end of what was expected in the Innisphere. Yeah, that was the initial point. The initial point of the invasion. Yeah, plus the Wolf's Dragoons were fielding battle mechs unseen since the Star League. Yeah, that's what gave them out originally, or got people a little bit curious. But as I said, they weren't super surprised for it, because that was where the assumption came from, is that they'd found a cache. 3 parts complete minus the head. Yep. Annihilator was one. I think the Imp was another. Yeah, Annihilator was one of the mechs that the Wolf's Dragoons brought in. What's the source material for this? For the... Oh, God, it's jumping around all over the place. All of the law books and the source books for BattleTech. That would be all the source material. Like, this is some pretty old law, this. This has been in place for a while. The clan invasions and all the rules around them were written in the late 80s, early 90s. And I don't think any of that's been changed. There's been some rewrites and some tweaking, but I don't think any of that has changed. Numbers are from Sana, which references the SLDF Bull Fluff book. Wolf's Dragoons is from the Mercenaries Handbook. I don't know how many they have left, but I know the Dragoons lost a lot of mechs taking Terra, Earth, the Clan Wolf. Yeah, there was a lot of factions in the start of the Ill Clan era that nearly got annihilated in that. And the Dragoons were nearly wiped out earlier as well, because they were wiped out. I think they nearly wiped out twice. They nearly got annihilated at one point before the clans invaded, because they had to get mech reinforcements from the clans. So they had to go back and get a second delivery of mechs because something happened. I think that was the betrayal at the betrayal by the Draconis Combine, and then they got Outreach and they lost almost all of their forces on the destruction of Outreach. That was the second time, and then they built back up again. And I'm not super familiar with how many they lost taking Terror at the start of the Ill Clan era, but yeah, there was a third one. They've been kicked a few times. Afraid I'm only good up to the clan invasion. Anything after that, I don't know. Yeah, it's where I get a little bit hazy. I've caught up on some of it, not all of it. Text paraphrase, at best, the clans focus on the rules of war, the inner sphere focused on victory. Well, yeah, I suppose that is sort of true. I mean, I'm not going to argue with Tex on that, but it's more of a case of, yeah, the clans. Yeah, I think what I said before is probably the best for it. The clans saw war as a tournament, not as a war. They fought with a distinct set of rules, but what they weren't doing, it wasn't rules for war. They weren't actually fighting a war. Their entire combat structure essentially operated like a series of Solaris tournaments. It was a sport, not a war. And then they come into the inner sphere and they suddenly got to encounter what an actual war is like when push comes to shove. Whatever agreements are made are out the window, plans are dunked, and nobody ever follows any rules. The rules are to be checked after the fight's over. And that's why initially they thought the inner sphere was completely without honor, until they finally worked out, after getting their teeth kicked, that they were not looking at this correctly. Catch you later, Shoal. Somerset House Call, no upgrades on the Argo. You have some spare cash. Actually, this is a good point before I leave, and I'm finally getting down to the bottom. Cody, what's this? Mag's BEX stream? Am I dreaming? No, I am trying to get back into this. But you're catching the end of it. It's past 3 a.m. It is now 3:15, so I'm going to bed in just a second. Power systems, 700,000. 2.25 to bring GammaPod online. 500,000 for the improved library. We could take that as an option. 2.2 to bring Mech Bay 3 online. Yeah, I'm not feeling that rich just yet. Let's get the library.
Roger that, Commander. I'll get the crew moving.
Up the crew morale even more, and it also opens up some more options. Thank you for reminding me of that. I would have forgot about that. Tree, good night, Mags. Thanks for the stream. My pleasure. There'll be a few more of these, I hope. Grey Death in the last book had 2 fighting lances, 1 command lance, and training when on campaign. The training mechs were used as reserve mechs. At the end, they were molded to 2. Grey Death was his largest regiment with size 3 lances of mechs, 1 infantry, 2 of Aerotech fighter lancers, and 2 Union dropships. Yeah, that was the end of the second, beginning of the third, wasn't it, somewhere? Ah, oh, fucking bot right at the end of the stream. Go away.
Do not rotate, radiate, or energize any external electronic equipment.
Bloody thing. Yeah, got the bot. Got the bot. Right at the end of the stream, though. Alright. And that brings us to a close. We are finally at the bottom of the chat. Sorry if I'm a little rough, guys, tonight. It has been a while since I've done one of these, obviously. But we are going to get back into this. I am going to get this back in order. So, next stream, what I think I'll be doing, let's flick over to navigation here for a second. Just before I go, I reckon we have this 2-skull Flashpoint, Tournament of Champions. I don't think I've done this one in vanilla, so I'm actually not sure what this is all about. It's at Betelgeuse, which is interesting, because that's the giant star, so I'm interested in what the planets will be like there. 150,000 travel, only 22 days out. It's got a $1 million cash prize at the end of it, and no consecutive deployments. So we land, there's a battle, we leave. At 2 skulls, we have mechs up to 70 tons. I think we can do that. So we will do that as our next mission. And then hunting season is now available, which is our next mission for hunting the unknown ship that we did a little bit of, I think, the second last stream. So we've got another flashpoint over here. Hearts and Minds. Employer Federated Sons. Huh. We've got a couple of flashpoints to do here. Alright, we're going to do that one first. We might cut back over to this one, and that one is not going anywhere, because that one doesn't expire. That flashpoint campaign stays there until we actually want to do it. So, we've got a couple of options here. Anyways, guys, that will be the next stream. We'll pick that up, well, as soon as possible. I'll try and get another stream in the coming week. And yeah, I'll bring this one to a close. So once again, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care.